Hey, hey guys, peace, love, harmony, and light. Time to go in, time to get it in today. All right, make sure audio is good. Light. All right, audio is good. Audio is good. Now, giving you guys a chance to get into this light. Those of you who can't catch the live, hey, peace and love, brother Talof. For those of you who can't catch the live, I suggest that you hey, play over the video and look at it from the beginning and definitely take some notes and do the research. Once again, I am not here to give opinions, well, sometimes perspectives, but for the most part, I am here to give facts, all right? And a lot of the information that I give, people may be in their feelings, and you know what? It's okay. Do know what that feels like. When you strongly believe in something and you believe it's the truth, and then all of a sudden you find out it's not, that could be a little bit troublesome. And a lot of people don't know how to recover, from such a thing. For me, if you just allow the truth, to speak, and it will resonate. And it doesn't mean because you have believed in something for so long, it doesn't mean that it's the truth, because even in the word believe, there's the word lie. So man lie and women lie. So there's always a potential information that we have been given is incomplete. I wouldn't say it's wrong, but incomplete, because a lot of times, people tend to leave out, the truth, but just give their own perspective from their own perception based on what they're trying to accomplish. And to me, that's not righteous. Always tell people the truth and let them do as, because everyone has a choice. At least you will be in forthcoming. But also, people suffer from cognitive dissonance. All right, and that's another mental disease, if you ask me, because it doesn't matter how much facts you present to them, because they believe in what they believe so much that they cannot see anything else. They have that mental block. Okay, and of course, people have lived a life for so long that they have to lie to cover the lie, to cover the lie. And then what happens? Okay, it becomes a reality for them. I don't want people to think that, oh man, I was a fraud, but I'm going to be quite frank with you guys. Predicament, you know, feel free to tell the people around you, hey, you know what? I made an error. The information I gave you wasn't quite complete. Route to take, opposed to telling that continuous lie, because you are literally doing an injustice to the people, and they cannot move forward. We cannot move forward, with such behaviors. All right. So for me, responsibility for myself. If I give you information that's not complete, then honestly, I'll make an effort to let you know, hey, you know what? That information that I gave you, it is not quite complete. I think some more research needs to be done, or my own perception. All right. But I'm not going to tell you it's facts when I know it's not. All right. I'm going to share with you today, like every other video, it's important, it's imperative that you get it. For the videos, I am going to put it in the description, but it's on our nation's website. So you could definitely go to the website and check it out. But sure that we don't repeat history, okay, in certain aspects. All right, mad at our ancestors, okay, for doing what they did. Everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences. There's no, for those of us, for those who sold us out. I'm not mad at them. All I know is I have to do the best that I can to correct. I have to do the best that I can to learn from those mistakes and make sure they don't repeat themselves. We have to move forward. We have to move forward. Forward is to go back. Okay, dig deep into history, into his story, into our story. Okay, and compare the two and pull the truth out. I've been doing. Last night I read a book, with damn near, 500 pages because, like I said before, you don't have the time to do that. Another reason don't know how to read. Another reason is a lot of old people don't know how to read to understand or make sense of what they're reading. So that's one of my talents that, the most I, have graced me with, then, to do that and bring the information to you. Okay. Receiving a file. What the hell? Okay. Somebody sending me. All right. Well, I guess, yeah, authentic one, you just sent me some information, right? Creek Indian man in Creek, citizenship restored. Oh yeah. Right now, brother, I'm telling you, some powerful moves right now, and literally what I'm waiting for. I know I got it, brother. Thank you for the text. What I'm waiting for right now is just the people. You know what I mean, bro? That's all. I'm just waiting on the people to make these moves because our people are waking up across the country, across the Americas, and we want our citizenship or our nationality restored. We are not United States citizens, okay? But there are a lot of stumbling blocks in the way for those who are still confused, okay? Or those who are, so that's why I'm trying to clarify a lot of those things, all right? There's nothing wrong with the word citizenship, all right? A lot of people think there's something wrong with the word. To be a citizen is to be part of a society. We had our own society, so therefore we were citizens of that society. Take for instance, if you were of the Creek nation or you were of then you are a citizen of that nation. It's just a society. A lot of our people who claim to be citizens of the United States, then of that society. The only difference is that society doesn't exist. It only exists on paper. It's not real. Okay. And a lot of us, because of people, a lot of our people don't know what particular tribes that they came from. Okay. I'm telling you, we could create this umbrella, all right, and put in this work and claim our nationality. Okay. Whether it may be as individuals or as a group, we have to step up and make that happen. And that's what I'm taking you back. I'm bringing you to the beginning. I'm bringing you to the middle. I'm taking you to the now. I'm going to move you to the moving you forward. All right. And that's my goal. Okay. That's my goal. My goal is to put everything in perspective for you. My goal is to open up your eyes to make sure you know exactly what's happening. All right. A lot of people point out the problems, but they don't give you the solutions. I know the problem. All I need is the people. I just need the support. That's all I need. Everybody say, oh, well, Chief, we're going to support, but I'm not getting it. Okay, we got moves to make. And I'm telling you, we are living in a perfect time. Trump is the trump card. Let us use it to the best advantage. Brothers and sisters, nothing is a coincidence, okay? The Trump card is therefore a real window of opportunity, okay, to restore our national citizenship as the Aborigines. We have that, okay? And certain individual groups or tribes could do that. But I'm telling you, like, I plan, all right? I'm not going to put it out there like that, okay? I'm not going to put it out there like that because I'm moving stealth, doing behind the scenes. I'm not going to come out here and blur it out. We have moves to make. I'm tired of hearing, Chief, I'm ready. Chief, I'm ready. Chief, I'm down. Chief, I got you. No, show me you got me, okay? Talking, I'm just tired of the talking, man. I'm tired of the talking because every single day it eats me up to know the land of my ancestors, and I have to be walking on pins and needles, okay? pins and needles. It hurts me that every time I want to eat some fruits from the Asians, it hurts me. I mean, it bothers me. It really does. It really, really does. It bothers me that every time I walk in the streets, you know, our brothers on the corners just have no directions. Our young sisters have no direction. It eats me up, okay? And ma'am, I'm lost for words, and I try not to let it bother me too much because I'm thrown off. But I know I have to continue doing what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? So at the ending of the day, you know, yes, we have to have, of course, you know, you have to have your family, okay? But my question is always, if your family is good, what happened to the 10 other families that are good? And that's why it's important. I want to get that movie. Again, if anybody could get me an MOV copy of that movie, one that just came out this summer, please send it to my email because I want to break that down. All right? It's more than just you. It's more than just me. Okay? We have to go back to the community, a village. All right? We have to go back to that concept. Because if we, yes, self-preservation is first. We have to make sure that we are secure within our own state of being and our family. But once that's done, we have to extend it. The people that we think is not going to be an issue, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly what I'm saying. If there's a, let's just say you like the dollar bill, okay? And you and your family are the only ones who have resources to feed yourself. In the neighborhood hungry, they can't feed themselves. What do you think they're going to do? Yes, the one who looked like he was going to come get you because you know what? You got the food and everybody needs to eat. You feel me? So at the end of the day, we have to feed ourselves, but we have to keep in mind that the people around us, we have to start planting those seeds. And if they can't get it, we have to move away from them because when that time comes, those they're going to set as most to come take you out. I'm telling y'all, I know what I'm talking about. And again, I want to see if I could get a copy of that movie because I want to break it down so bad. But we are living in a perfect time. Enough for the talking. Okay? Because they have the agents all over the place. And that's why we are going back. And with this video, again, I'm on the rocking chair, all right? So the squeaking chair, so don't mind that. But I'm going back to the beginning. And those of you who want to take this personal, that's on you. But I'm showing the facts, all right? So let me start. Let me get into this. I'm going to share the screen. Once again, I have the button for you to support there. Man, support the channel. And I'm going to take you on a journey. I hope you guys are ready, all right? Because I'm hyped. I'm always excited to share information with you guys. Okay? Let us go. Let me share the screen. And we about to make this happen. Oh man, where am I at? Where am I at? Where's I'm not seeing oh, okay, here we go. What happened? Okay, what happened here? Man, why is this always happening? Like, all right, cool. I'm like, cancel that. Bear with me here for a second, guys. All right, there we go. I think I'm good. All right, perfect. It seems like it's always some problems. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to you know, our nation's website. All right, and again, you know, if you guys want to, you know, read from the book later and read it for yourself, then you go to our nation's website and you could get that. All right, so the website is www.autochtonapn.com, which stands for American People Nation. All right, this is the homepage for you. All righty, let me show you real quick. Come on. All right, let me just extend that some more. And let me just show you real quick. Link for my book is on the site. You go down, you scroll down, and you go to the book cover. Okay, the title of the book is Newsflash, Everyone's Less, and it has powerful information. So hey, go to the website, support the book, learn how to win. This is what this is about. Okay, learn how to win. I wish all that information, or people know all that information, because we wouldn't be in that situation we're in today. So I'm giving you a way out. I'm giving you the answers. All right. So please, now let us go to the university section. We come down here, our university, and we're gonna look book. Actually, I'm gonna read from 3 books today. All right. I may not read everything, but for a couple of them, I would read as time permits, because it takes a lot of those books after 500 pages bit night. What is the first? Let me see. The history. As you could see, this on the website. So in your spare time, man, check it out. Okay. So the first one I'm gonna read from is the history of the Moreno, because we have to truly understand who came to our land, who did what. Once again, history will repeat itself. So we have a history of the Morenos by Cecile Roth. Okay, Cecile Roth. I'm excited about this. Like I said, man, we got work to do. Okay, we got work to do. We have the table of content, the antecedents of the crypto Judaism, the beginning of mannerisms, the establishment of the general conversion in Portugal, the heyday of the Inquisition, the inquisitional procedure, and the auto de fe, saints, heroes, and martyrs of the Morenos, the Moreno diaspora, the Dutch Jerusalem, the resettlement in England, and but particular to that chapter, the Morenos in the new. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to page 106. But I would like for you guys, if you want, to entire book and get an understanding of what it is for yourself. So let us go to page 106 and there. Okay, page 106. Don't worry, I will make that a little bigger. All right, so just so you know, the religion of the Morenos was Judaism. All right, so you'll understand again Christianity, all those things, how that got introduced to our people. You have to go back to the beginning to know to move forward. All right, what I said, page 106, right? Bear with me, guys, please. Bear with me. Let me just make sure I get that. Page 106. Come on, come on. You're almost there, Chief. You're almost there. All right, there we go. All righty. Let me see if I could open that up some more. There we go. All righty. All right, beautiful. I think that's big enough. I mean, I think everybody should be able to see that. Okay. So we're going to do some reading the entire chapter, but just to give you an introduction as to put the pieces together, because this is a puzzle. All right, and there's so much misinformation out there that it's not being told in its proper, okay, or from different perspectives, and we could make sense out of whatever we read. All right. So this book right here, I thought I got some good information from that. History of the Morenos by Cecile Roth. Okay, this is chapter 11, the Morenos in the New World. And like I told you before, we know that America is not the New World. It's definitely part of the old world, but the New World was the concept of creating something that they wanted to turn it into. All right. So that's, to me, that was the mindset of those people in that time or era. All right. Now let us start from the beginning. In the same month in which their majesty issued the edict that all Jews should be driven out and its territories, in that same month they gave me the order to undertake with sufficient men my expedition of discovery to the Indies. Now you may have asked yourself, how is that the Jews own everything? How is that the Jews own America? How is that the Jews run the United States? They own the court system. They literally own anything. Well, I'll tell you why. The so-called Jews, the Khazarians or the Khazars, mostly that type of Jews, they're the ones, right? They were being ran off in wherever they went. They tried to settle. They were being treated like dogs and animals, okay? They were being driven from every part of the world that they wanted to go to. I don't know why. It was just maybe something about them. Okay. But again, they were inhumanely. All right. So eventually they came up with a scheme, a plan to conquer the world. Because wherever they went, again, they were being shunned. They were being beaten. They were being enslaved. All right. And they wanted to do something about it. They came up with a plan. You see, once you have a plan and you stick to your plan and you put your resources together, then you are unstoppable. And that's exactly what they did. All right. Because they had to be driven out of the kingdom. Because they were at some point a powerful force and they were taken over. So that's why the Jews are so united. They know, and they know their history. They know what they went through, and they have a secret code. All right, they have a code. It's not that they all get along and sing kumbaya. No, that's not what it means. They know that they have a common history. Okay, they know that they went through something horrific, the Holocaust. I'm talking about way before that. The Holocaust was also part of their grand scheme of their takeover. So they had to sacrifice some of their people for the better good. All right. So I'm trying to let you understand the mindset of the people who are enslaving you. No, I'm not saying we have to go sacrifice our own people for the better good. I'm not saying that. But what I'm telling you is they have a common history. And they knew because of that common history, they had to unite regardless of their differences. You have different type of Jews. And that's what it seems the so-called black man or African American can't seem to get, or the Afro-American can't seem to get. Yes, we may have our differences, but we have a common history. We have a common problem. And we have to put all our differences aside and tackle that problem as a people. So I have the mindset of exactly what happened. All right. So let me stop rambling here for a second and let me continue. With this significant passage, Christopher Columbus began his expedition, which led to the discovery of the New World. Well, supposedly, because he didn't discover anything, but to them, it was a discovery. He might have added, had he thought it worthwhile, that he actually set sail within a day or two of the departure of the last of the Jewish exiles, and that the vessels which conveyed them were lying in the roadstead of Seville in close proximity to his own Jews. And the discovery of America was not, however, merely a question of fortuitous coincidence. Once again, my brothers and sisters, there are no coincidences. I will always keep reminding you of that. There are coincidences or accidents. Everything happens for a reason, whether it was planned or that's just the way it was, this nature. But there's no coincidences. All right. So I'm going to read that again. The connection between the Jews and the discovery of America was not, however, merely a question of fortuitous coincidence. That epoch making expedition of 1492 was a matter of fact, very largely a Jewish, or rather a Moreno enterprise. You hear that? It was a Jewish or a Moreno enterprise. So they planned this, orchestrated, it was strategized, and they were coming for, all right? There are grounds for believing that Columbus was himself a member of a new Christian family. It is indeed highly ironical that the patriotic attempts him as a Spaniard are mostly based upon an assumption that he was a member of a race which Spain was even then chasing from her shores. Okay, so Columbus was a mole. They call him a Spaniard, but the truth is, Columbus and a lot of those Morenos, they were Jews, but they changed their name to Spanish names. Okay, when they came. So I'm showing y'all the plot right now. Okay. Now, whether he was an Italian or whether he was a so-called Moor or whether he, you know, or Spaniard, I know for a fact that that whole journey, it was a Jewish or a Moreno enterprise. And how do I know? Who owned everything right here? So from the very beginning, you see, we have to put the pieces together. I tell people I don't do things based on emotions. I show you the facts. I use logic. Because if that were the case, then it would have been the Spaniards, all right, that's running this United States corporation. But the plan from the very beginning was Jews, okay, disguising themselves as Spaniards. Because everywhere they went, they were being driven away. They were being fought against. They were being killed. They were being enslaved. So they had to disguise themselves, all right, to pretend to be Spaniards. So I hope all this is coming together. All righty. Now, I'm reading from here now. Less hypothetical is the case of others who participated in the Great Expedition. It was made possible by a loan which Louis de Santangel, Chancellor and Comptroller of the Royal Household, a great-grandson of Noah Shinilo, advanced through not out of his own purse to his royal. He was a matter of fact the first person to listen to Columbus' dreams seriously, and it is highly doubtful whether the Queen would have displayed any interest but for his intervention. Gabriel Sanchez, the High Treasurer of Aragon, who was another of the explorer's most fervent patrons, was of full Jewish blood, being a son of a convert couple and a nephew of Alazar Yusuf of Saragossa. And once again, how can I prove it? Every president of the corporation, the United States corporation, is of Jewish descent. Go ahead and prove me wrong. If you have maybe one or two that wasn't, but the majority of them, I'm talking about over 90% of them or 99% of them, okay, may not have been of the Jewish stock. And I'm just saying that's you know, that's a hypothetical. But I am believing that all of them were of Jewish descent, even if they were mixed. So when you talk about Obama was your first president, I show you in a video that Obama himself said that he's a Kenyan. But not just so he's a Kenyan, Obama is also a Jew, a Jesuit from his mother's side. Everything was strategically planned. It is no coincidence Obama was put in place to be the president of the corporation that time in the history of the corporation called the United States. Everything was well, you know, orchestrated. But because people are in their emotions, nobody want to take the veil off their eyes. They don't want to take the blinders off because they are playing on your emotions. Y'all loved Obama to death, but do you know how much damage Obama caused us? Do you know? So Obama was a Jesuit, a Jew. And this corporation is being run by Jews. It is a family, it is a society. They decide, okay, you know what, this is the grand takeover. This is the scheme. That's what we got to do. And they did what they had to do. Am I mad? No. It's genius. But I don't appreciate it. And I'm tired of it. But man, that was genius. Okay? The only one of the high officials intimately concerned with the genesis of the expedition belonging to an old Christian house was the royal secretary Juan de Coloma, whose wife was, however, descended from the Jewish clan of De is Calabarrera. You see, all those names are Spanish names because the Jews took on a new identity. The same way they took on the title of being the chosen people, God's chosen people, the Jews, which we know the original Jews are absolutely of the Negroid stock. Okay? The personnel of the expedition whose very name denoted that he was born in the Jewish quarter. Now, when you hear that name, Alonso de la Cal, anybody would think that's Spanish. But no, the man was a Jew. Rodrigo Sanchez, a relative of the High Treasurer, joined the party as a superintendent at the personal request of the Queen. One Marco was the ship surgeon, Master Bernal, who had been reconciled in 1490 for Judaizing, served as physician, and Luis de Torres, who accompanied the expedition as an interpreter, was baptized just before sailing. The latter was, a matter of fact, the first European to set foot in the new land, which had been first sighted by Moreno sailor Rodrigo de Triana, and is worth recording also as the first to make use of tobacco. Of course, we know tobacco is indigenous to the Americas. Recent research necessitates a modification of this statement. Okay? Of this statement. Only Torres was assured of Jewish origin. Those who had favored the enterprise naturally reaped some of the rewards. The first royal grant to export grain and horses to America was made in favor of Luis de Santangel, who may thus be reckoned the founder of the two great American industries. The Morenos, possibly in part, in order to escape the attentions of the Inquisition, were quick to realize the possibilities of the New World and to transfer themselves thither as colonists. Thus, Luis de Torres, the interpreter to the expedition, received large grants of land in Cuba, where he died. Many others of his race followed him. Attempts were repeatedly made in after years to prevent new Christians and those financed by the Inquisition, as also their descendants, from immigrating to the Indies. This was at best difficult to enforce, while suspension was occasionally secured for the financial considerations. Thus, in 1509, in the composition arrived at in Seville between the conversors and the crown, it was specifically stipulated that in return for a payment of 20,000 ducats, the former were at liberty to go to the colonies for the purpose of trade for periods not exceeding 2 years. 19. Charles V, with characteristic zeal for the faith, ordered the royal officers at Seville to prevent them from embarking. After a prolonged struggle, they gained their point and were again allowed to. Among the conquistadors were accompanied Cortez to the conquest of Mexico. There was at least one Moreno, Hernando Alonso. Now let me ask you, see, there we go. Now, when you hear the name or the title Hernando Alonso, what is the first thing you're going to think? You're going to think Spanish, but no, that was a Jew. Trade of whom we have a picturesque glimpse, hammering nails into the brigantines which served to recapture the city of Mexico, taking a personal share in the assault and subsequently swaggering about in a belt of refined gold which he had exacted from the natives. The nightmare of the Inquisition was not long in following the Morenos to the new home, the discovery of which had owed so much to their energy and enterprise. As early as 1515, a Moreno, Pedro de Leon, once again, you think people, no, they are not Spaniards, they are Jews, was brought back with his family from Hispaniola. And of course, we know Hispaniola was then, now is what called Haiti and Dominican Republic together, to face his trial at Seville. 4 years later, apostolic inquisitors for the American colonies were appointed by the Supreme Tribunal in Spain. Among the earliest batch of victims was Hernando Olanzo, the conquistador, who was burned at the stake with another Jediza in 1528. At first order held in the New World, a third person being reconciled at the same time. In 1539, a new Christian named Francisco Milian was penance for the same offense. On the whole, the main preoccupation of the Inquisition in America at this period was with Lutheran heretics rather than with Judaizers. Difficult to find. In 1537, Paul III had issued a bull forbidding any apostate from going to the Indies, and 6 years later, Prince Philip ordered the expulsion of any conversos found resident there or their children. Thus, the native Spanish Judaizers, rapidly losing ground in the peninsula, were prevented from obtaining a footing. Within a very short time, however, a fresh and more vital influx began. The Revolution in Portugal drove large numbers of conversos to migrate. In view of the difficulty of finding a refuge anywhere in Europe, their thoughts naturally turned to the New World. So I'm showing you, because these people, wherever they went, okay, they had to go into hiding. They were converting them, all right? And they were tired. And they decide, you know what, man, now we got to come together. We got to come up with a scheme. And their attention started, of course, on a larger scale in the New World, of course, our American shores. An opportunity, of course it is. It has always been, where the inhabitants of the less prosperous parts of the peninsula might hope to make their fortunes. Moreover, in this virgin field of settlement, where they were entirely unknown, they might hope to begin a new life free from suspicion and from persecution. Judaizers thus spread increasing numbers throughout the Spanish Main. They were especially numerous in Mexico, where a group existed in almost every town. They maintained a connection with every part of the old world, even as far afield, Italy, Amsterdam, and Salonika. In many ways, they seem to have been better informed of Jewish law, and of course, law is the spoken word. Okay, the spoken word, or it's law, but it was spoken oral tradition. Description was true also of other provinces. They became, by the beginning of the 16th century, the masters of the colonial commerce. All right. So again, I'm showing you exactly what happened. They became the masters of colonial commerce. Why do you think the Jews own everything here? I hope I'm opening up your eyes to exactly what's going on and what's taking place. The takeover, all right? All imports and exports, from brocade or brocade to sackcloth, and from diamonds to common seed, passed through their hands. Castilians complained that it was impossible for them to succeed in business without Portuguese partner. It was alleged the cargoes they divided amongst themselves, thus rendering capital unnecessary. In other words, that they evolved an economic system in advance of their age. The articles in question were distributed throughout the country by the likewise Portuguese. Okay, in 1634, they were the farming of the royal revenue. All right, I'm sure it's happening. So rapidly did they grow in influence and number that before the 16th century was over, it was considered necessary to make special provision against them. Thus, in 15 the secured the establishment in the city of Mexico of an independent inquisitional tribunal on the model of those which flourished in the peninsula for the purpose of freeing the land. When has become contaminated by Jews and heretics, especially of the Portuguese nation. On February 24, the first order under this auspices took place with great pomp. At one new Christian appeared, and that for a minor offense only. It was in 1577 that the first Judaizer suffered. Thereafter, the number rapidly grew. One family of Portuguese origin was particularly prominent among the martyrs of this period. The father, Francisco Rodriguez Matos, was described as a rabbi and dogmatizer or teacher of the Jewish religion. Now, think of the name Francisco Rodriguez. Wouldn't we say that's those are Spanish, maybe Mexican, Puerto Rican, but no. Okay, those are Jews, brothers and sisters. Those are Jews. Man, I'm telling you, it was brilliant. I can't hate, man. I can't hate. All right, I just hate the game. All right, he had could be executed on him. He was accordingly burned in effigy, as also was his son, who had escaped trial by flight. His 4 cultured daughters, of whom the youngest, a girl of 17, was reported to know all the Psalms of David by heart, to be able to repeat the prayer of Ishtar and other hymns backwards, were all reconciled. The most illustrious member of the group was their uncle, Luis de Carvajal, named governor of the province of New Leon, who had rendered considerable service to the state. For the crime of having failed to denounce his sisters, he was prosecuted, deprived of his office, and died in prison. Before long, the family was found to have relapsed into their Judaistic practices. There was now no possibility of escape, since the ruthless Fray Alonso de Peralta, against whom proceedings were subsequently brought for misconduct in office, had in the meantime been appointed inquisitor. In a great order held in 1596, the governor's nephew, another Louise, was burned with his mother and 3 of his sisters. At the same time, 4 other persons were relaxed in person for Judaizing, 10 relaxed in effigy, and 22 reconciled. All told, 41 persons out of the 66 who appeared on this occasion were Morenos. One of the younger Carvajal's surviving sisters who escaped on this occasion was burned for relapse on March 26, 1601, when another was reconciled. So once again, I'm showing you what these people went through. Not that I'm feeling sorry for them. Okay, man, listen, we went through our own shit. I'm just showing you that these people had something in common. They were being persecuted all where they went, and they came up with a scheme and a plan. But look at our people. We've been in our own land for millennials, okay, from time immemorial, and we are still going through the bullshit since these people came into our land, and we refuse to come together to come up with a plan. Go look at your statesmen. They're all damn Jews. Like I told y'all before, y'all been run and governed by Rome. During the previous quarter of a century, no fewer than 879 trials had been taken, activity being thus nearly as great as that of the famed Tribunal of Toledo. The work of extermination was done the next 40 years up to 1642. Less than 30 further Judaizers were punished, of whom some 20 were reconciled, 1 relaxed in person, and 6 in effigy. When in 1605 the general pardon for Judaizers of Portuguese extraction reached Mexico, there was only one in the inquisitional dungeons to be liberated. Elsewhere in the New World, the same falling of was to be observed. In Peru, where a tribunal had been opened in 1570, a year before that of Mexico, the number of Moreno victims had been small until 1595. At the great ordo held at Lima on December 17th in that year, 10 Judaizers figured, 4 of them being relaxed, of whom one, Francisco Rodriguez, was burned alive. On December 10, 1600, 14 Portuguese Judaizers were punished, 2 being relaxed one in effigy. The auto of March 13th, 1605, exhibited 16 Judaizers reconciled, 6 burned in effigy, and 3 in prison. Thereafter, there was a very considerable falling off, though there were slight recurrences or recrudescences in 1608 and 1612. The Tribunal of New Granada, founded in 1610 with its seat at Cartagena, was lost concerned with Judaizers and only attained its maximum activity after the first quarter of the 17th century was finished. Thus, at the order of June 17th, 1626, 7 Judaizers suffered among the 22 penitents. One of them, Juan Vincent, being relaxed. All told, in its all centuries of existence, something like 50 Judaizers figured a total of number of condemnations comprising of 767 persons and pronounced at approximately 54 autos. The majority of the sentences inflicted were, however, comparatively light, only 5 persons all told being burned. The Philippine Islands, too, the Morenos had penetrated persons being sent thence to Mexico for trial. You see, they were all over. That was the goal, world domination. Okay, listen, wherever we go, we are being burned. Wherever we go, we are being treated a certain way. It's something about these people, okay? It's something about these people that every ethnic group saw them as evil. So they say, you know what? Nah, we can't be going through this. We gotta find a way. And they came up with the grand scheme for the takeover. All right? And they had to put agents in every part of the world, but disguised as Spaniards. All right? So they wore the wigs. They wore the wigs. They wore the stockings. They blended in. Oh wow! Guess what just came to mind? Maybe that's why they all let their wives shave their heads and put on a wig, because that might be symbolic. But you know me, my mind is always running all over the place. So maybe that has no significance. But hey, I just thought about it, so I let it out. What the hell? Here, similarly, there are no traces of any such cases for nearly half a century after 1601. A chance episode made it clear with startling rapidity that this diminution of activity was not due to any lack of material, and that the Morenos were stronger in the New World than they had ever been before. One day in August 1634, a jealous trader, Lima, appeared before the Inquisitional Tribunal to denounce Antonio Cordero, the local factor of the merchant from Seville, on the ground that he had been unwilling to make a sale on Saturday, besides refusing to set a rasher of bacon for his breakfast. A secret inquiry was made into the matter, and in the following April, the accused person was secretly removed to prison in a sedan chair. Under torture, he made an admissions which implicated his employer and a couple of other persons. The latter, in turn, were forced to denounce many other accomplices. To accommodate the fresh prisoners, expected fresh cells were erected. Then on August 11th, between 12:30 and 2 o'clock, 17 arrests were made among the most prominent citizens and merchants of the city. But the work was not by any means complete. Up to May 16th, 81 arrests had been carried out, and events collected against as many more suspects. Property to a vast value was confiscated. The impression created in the city from the first day, we are told, was like that of the day of judgment. For the majority of the trade of the city was concentrated in the hands of those implicated. A widespread commercial crisis and sued, culminating in failure of the bank. So I hope you guys are really, you know, you know, focus, all right, and internalizing what I'm saying, and start putting the puzzles together. That's what we are doing here, all right. We are putting the puzzle, we are putting the pieces together, and it's the only way we could figure our way out of this is to know what happened, to know who is doing it, to know the tricks and the games that was played, the deception, all right. The fruits were seen in a great auto held on January 23rd, 1639, at which about 60 Judaizers figured. Of these, 7 adjured de vehementi. 44 were reconciled after being sentenced to punishment of varying severity, and 11 persons were relaxed. 7 of the latter were burned alive as pertinacious and impenitent heretics, true martyrs to their faith. All right. The most prominent of them was heroic Francisco Maldonado de Salva, alias Eli Nazareno, who had been languishing in prison for 13 years. All of the others were members of the complicated grand, as the crypto Jewish connection at Lima or Lima was henceforth called. All right. Again, where do you think cryptocurrency came from? It's all Jewish. You see, all our people, these people, they always 50 moves ahead. Okay, they know that the dollar might crash, so they're coming up with cryptocurrency. That come from the Jews, crypto Jews. Okay, pulling you from one system to the next. That's what they're doing. All right. You know what? These people are waking up. It is time. The supposed slavery for 400 years is about to be up. What we got to do? We got to bring in the Real ID Act, pull them in back into the system. If they don't have that, they can't travel on planes. Okay, so our people are going to fall right back into the trap of enslavement. But I hope I'm opening up your eyes so you could see the game. All right? And they would do anything by any means necessary to stay and have their stronghold in our land. But y'all think this is about white versus black. This is not about white versus black. No. Everybody's slaves, except them for the majority of the most part, because they are the slave masters. So-called Caucasians are slaves too, but they just don't know it. All right? Now I'm not trying to say go sleep in bed with Caucasians. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is stop making this about black and white. Okay? Know who the real threat is. All of the others were members of the complicated. I read that already. He was known among his fellow Portuguese as the Captain Grande, and it was at his house that they had been accustomed to come together for prayer. So when you hear a lot of the Portuguese came to the New World and all that, man, listen, those were Jews. Okay? They were Morenos. They were not Spaniards. I'm reading here now. From here. Okay. Besides these, the effigy of one person who had committed suicide during trial was condemned to flames. Another prisoner, a mere boy, had become mad as a result of his suffering. On the next day, the populace enjoyed the spectacle of the public surging through the streets of 29 of those reconciled men and women, naked from the waist up. In the orders of the following years, the remnants of the Complicidad Grande were dealt with. The last victim was Manuel Henriquez, who was burned as late as 1664 in company with the effigy of Donna Marcia de Luna, who had died under torture. This exemplary display of severity, coupled with the menace of total expulsion in 46 rather, evaded only through an ample payment, finally exterminated the offense of Judaizing in the province of many years to come. The next case, a light one, occurred as long after as 1720. The last victim burned at the stake by the Peruvian Inquisition was a reputed Judaizer, the beautiful and romantic intriguer Ana de Castro. who suffered on December 23rd, 1736, apparently in consequence of private enmity. In the following year, at an auto particular, Juan Antonio Perea was punished for the same crime, though the Inquisition in Peru continued a sporadic activity for another 3/4 of a century and even had a few accusations of Judaizing brought before it. And on trivial grounds, no further prosecutions of this nature figure in its records. The Complicadad Grande had its repercussions of Catanilla, where several persons implicated in confessions extorted at Lima were arrested and put on trial. Of these, 8 were reconciled. There were indeed no relaxations, but the confiscations which resulted were so considerable as to put the tribunal in the possession of enormous funds. Thereafter, it was comparatively inactive as far as Judaizers were concerned, though in 1715 it reconciled the disreputable renegade ex-friar and ex-pirate Jose Abraham Diaz Pimienta, who 5 years later, after a relapse, was burnt at Seville. More drastic by far was the upheaval in Mexico. Here, it had taken some time for the possibilities which had been opened up to be realized. However, in July 1642, Gabriel de Granada, a child of 13 against whom suspicions had been aroused, was arrested. He was ruthlessly examined and thus forced to make admissions which implicated no less than 108 persons in all, including his own mother and the whole of his family. The province was found to be filled with Judaizing heretics who clung to their ancestral religion with unusual fidelity. They were in contact with their co-religionists as far as afield as Italy and Turkey, and large numbers of the males amongst them were circumcised. All right? Why do you think they have that in their Bible? You know, y'all took on their culture, circumcising your children. No, that's their culture, man. That's their culture. Cutting the head off. That's their culture. That's not ours. That's not the American Aborigine culture. And I thank my moms for not doing that gruesome shit to me. The most vast majority of them were immigrants from Portugal, some direct and some via Spain. The little community enjoyed a certain degree of organization. Miguel Trinoco acted as the sacristan and religious factotum, distributing the unleavened bread amongst them before the Passover. Services were held at fairly regular intervals at the house of Captain Simon Baez Sevilla, whose whole family had suffered bitterly at the hands of the Inquisition, and his wife, Juana Enriquez. So once again, when you're thinking those are Spaniards, those are Spanish people, why do you think a lot of these people on the news, these prominent people, they got Spanish names, and you think they're Spaniards? No, they're Jews. They're making you think they're Spaniards. Okay? Oh, we Spaniards. Oh no, Latina. No, they damn Jews. They're Jews. But y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. The latter was the daughter of Blanca Enriquez, an eager Judaizer who had initiated all of her family and circling into the Jewish faith, and whose bones were afterwards exhumed and burned. In order to announce when a service was to be held, it was the custom of them to send a Negro slave in party colored clothes to play a tambor in those streets where their fellow Morenos live. At Guadalajara, the house of Manuel de Melo served as the religious center. So even the women, you know, was down with the movement. Okay? And see how we are so divided right now. We got brother fighting brother, sister fighting sister, sister fighting brother, brother fighting sister. Isn't that what they tell you Jesus came to do? So they gave you Jesus, and that's what happened. Man, y'all better wake the hell up. The whole of this circle was implicated in the confessions wrung out of Gabriel de Granada. Wholesale arrests were immediately carried out. This complicidad, forming the solitary subject of conversation in the city. Meanwhile, an embargo was placed upon the immigration of any Portuguese from the province without special license. All right. So you see exactly what happened to them. That's exactly what they're doing to us today. So y'all have to wake up and see what's happening, man. All right. Meanwhile, an embargo was placed upon the immigration of any Portuguese from the province without special license. You know why? Because they were traveling freely and they had to try to prevent them from traveling like that. So they needed a special license. We used to travel our land freely. Now what you need? You need a passport, a special license. Now guess what they're coming up with? The Real ID Act. And it has to be enforced by 2020 in every state. And you cannot go on a plane unless you have the Real ID. You cannot go into any federal building unless you have a Real ID. Because that's a form of control. Okay, there's no such damn thing as a Real ID. But how many of us, of our people, is going to run, oh, I need my Real ID. I need to go on a plane. Instead of standing up and say, no, we ain't doing that. This is our home. You know, I'm connecting the dots, though. I'm showing y'all. I hope those who have eyes, let them see, and those who have ears, let them hear. All right, this is where I'm at right now. All right, right here. At the first signs of danger, upon the best course of action. The general consensus of opinion was that in case of arrest, all should deny the whole charge steadfastly. This being the safest means to prevent the implication of others, as one of those present remarked. His arms were strong enough to withstand torture. So you see the mindset of these people? Y'all probably looking at Jews as weak and we pity these people and they look frail and they got their glasses and they look so innocent. No, they're beasts, man. All right. And when I say beast, I'm talking about they gangsters. They gangsters. They was willing to go through the torture. All right. Not sell out each other because they say, nah, man, you know, enough is enough. We have had, you see, when you beat a people down so much, at some point, there's no other way to go but up. So I'm asking sisters, is that an implication that we are not beaten bad enough yet? Still taking the beating and we are still accepting the beating. When are we going to say is enough? Deal with more persecution for us to really realize that we got to come together and stand up and fight? Hard enough. They were tired of being burnt at the stake. They were tired of being imprisoned. They were tired of embargoes being put on them for them not to travel. But here we are thinking everything is sweet and nice and good. At what point are we going to say enough is enough? Does that mean we're still waiting to endure some more of the punishment, some more of the genocide because we haven't hit rock bottom? Well, guess what, man? I've hit rock bottom. I'm tired. I'm ready to stand up. Okay? But I can't do it alone. I wish I could. I wish I could. Meanwhile, fasting and penitence were resorted in order to include the God of Israel to save his children from the present and strengthen the hearts of those in prison so that they should not display any weakness. That stuff up. The Inquisition set to work with its usual thoroughness and deliberation. In 1646, a total of 38 Judaizers were reconciled, bringing a very considerable profit to the coffers of the Holy Office. 21 followed in the next year. In 1648, there were 2 autos, in one of which 8 Judaizers were penanced, 8 reconciled, 21 burnt in effigy, and 1 in person. In the other, 21 Judaizers figured, though no burning took place. The climax of the Mexican Inquisition was reached in the terrible Ordo General of April 11, 1649, the greatest known outside the peninsula. Out of 109 persons who appeared, all but 1 were Judaizers. 57 persons were relaxed in effigy and 13 in person. 12 indeed professed repentance and so secured the preliminary grace of garroting. The only person burnt alive was thus Thomas Trevino of Sobremonte, a member of a family of martyrs who met his death heroically. All right. So the point I'm trying to show you is a lot of these people decided that, you know what, man, we're going to take the L for the greater good. And that's the problem with our people today. All right. We are so scared. We are not willing to stand up for the greater good. Yes, they're going to take out a few of us, but we're going to make provisions for our children. You know what I'm saying? And that's the mind. Oh, yes, you're going to kill me today, but I promise you, we're going to take over this shit by any means necessary. And that's the mentality that we have to have. We got to get back our home. It's our land. Okay, it's our throne. It belongs to us. At what point are you going to say, I'm tired? I mean, you say it, but what are you going to do about it? But first, you got to plan. You got to strategize. The spectacle was a magnificent one. We are informed how there was a double row of coaches all along the route of procession, with occupants remaining in them all night so as to make sure of their positions. You see that? They even had coaches. They even had coaches. Like I told y'all, how many of y'all go into the courts and don't have a coach? Guess who your coach is? They're lawyers. Man, I just got to laugh. So many of the inhabitants of the surrounding places streamed into the city in order to present that it seemed as though all the countryside for 100 of leagues round or more had been depopulated. This terrible lesson went for to check mannerisms in the province. In the following period, Judaizers occupied a less and less prominent position in the preoccupation of the Inquisition. Thus, in the order of 1659, only 4 figured amounts the 32 victims, and in later years, the proportion was even lower. In 1712, a solitary Judaizer was reconciled. As late as 1788, one Rafael del Gel Rodriguez, a cleric in holy orders, was sent exiled instead. Thus, by the close of the first half of the 17th century, it may be said that in Spanish dominions of the New World, crypto-Judaism had been almost completely suppressed. All right? Why do you think when Jesus was on the cross, Barabbas asked for forgiveness at the last minute and he was forgiven? Y'all better put 2 and 2 together. A very considerable stream of Moreno immigration was meanwhile being directed to the Portuguese colony of Brazil. This was not entirely spontaneous in origin. From 1548, one of the penalties imposed by the tribunals of the mother country upon convicted but penitent heretics was that of deportation, generally across the Atlantic. So you see, the same thing that happened to them is the same thing that they're doing to people right now. Trump is a Jew. Okay, Trump is a Jew. Obama is a Jew. All right? So when they realize, the pressure is coming on, they have to step in. All right? And they have to do damage control, immigration, all right? Deportation, the Real ID Act. They got to know exactly where you're at, everything they do. Why you think they have armies? They have the police force. But y'all got to wake up and see, man. Y'all got to wake up and see. I know ain't nobody else breaking it down like how I'm breaking it down to you, but I'm opening up your mind because I want you to know the truth. Hence, Brazil became filled with new Christians, all right, of doubtful orthodoxy. Indeed, even before this date, the settlement had been considerable. The colony thus harbored an increasingly high population proportion of secret Jews. You hear that? Secret Jews. They didn't want you to know. So they came in as colonists. They came in as Spaniards, as these guys, as missionaries. But y'all just love y'all churches, huh? Y'all just love your pastors, huh? Y'all just love your politicians, huh? You just love your television shows, huh? Those Jews are giving it to you to distract your ass. Yeah, that's right. They comprise many persons of great wealth, some being worth from 60,000 to 100,000 cruceros. They controlled a great part of the commerce of the country. In Bahia, South Salvador, nearly all the physicians were new Christians who were said to prescribe pork to their patients in order to lessen the suspicions against themselves. All right. No, it's not that, they eat pork. They didn't eat pork, but guess what? They didn't mind using the pork because they wanted to use it as a disguise to relieve some of the suspicions against themselves. So you see what they had to do, what they did for themselves. Hmm? Much of a long way we gotta go, man. And letting you know that this is not a game. It is stated that the sugar cane was first introduced into Brazil from the island of Madeira by Portuguese Morenos. They were thus instrumental in the inauguration of one of the most important local industries in which they continued to engage on a large scale. The Inquisition was never formally introduced into Brazil, which continued to be subject in this respect to the mother country. The new Christian settlement had become so considerable by 1579 that the inquisitional powers were conferred on the Bishop of Salvador. All prisoners were, however, had to be sent to Europe for trial. Great visitations were well under these auspices in 1591 to 295 and 1618. In the latter year, in consequence of the revelations, proceedings against the new Christians merchants of Oporto, an edict of faith was published at Rio de Janeiro by an inquisitor, especially detached from Lisbon. This resulted in extensive arrests coupled with confiscations of the value of 200,000 pesos. Despite the governmental precautions, large number of terrified Judaizers sought refuge on Spanish territory, where the local inquisitors were kept busily occupied for a time. At Lima, the fugitives provided the material for the Great Order on December 21st, 1625, at which 10 Judaizers were reconciled and 4 relaxed, 2 of them in person. All right, so I'm gonna stop reading here from there. I know it's an interesting read. I would like you guys to go to the website. Okay, like I said, the book is on the website, A History of the Morenos, and you go read those things and understand it for yourself and get into the mindset of the people that are controlling us today. All right, they are not an easy target. A lot of people just think you could just get, oh no, nah. I'm telling you, no. They have been through the fire. They've been through hell. They know what it means. They just look all innocent, like they look like they all nerds and shit. Nah, that's a disguise, man. That's a disguise. And a lot of people that you think that are Spanish, those are Jews. All right? So don't get it twisted. So check that information out, please. Let me stop sharing that and come back to the live feed. Make sure my peoples are with me. All right, peace and love, peace and love. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? We still good to go? We good to go or what? What's up? All right, are we good to go? What's good? What's good, family? What's good? What's good? What's popping, man? I'm just saying, I hope y'all enjoying this build, man. I hope y'all are enjoying this build because I'm doing some things, man. I'm telling you. I hope I'm opening up your eyes to this, okay? And not just opening up your eyes, but I want you to know exactly what happened. All right? How we ended up in this situation, how the Jews, all right, became a world power. They had to become chameleons. All right? They had to become chameleons. So now we're going to move forward because they didn't just do it alone. They had help. All right? And like I said, it's facts over feelings. I don't care who get upset, who get mad. I'm going to tell the truth. You know what? If I got to be persecuted because of the truth, then so be it. At least I know that my words. Okay, give me a second, guys. All right? I'll be back. Yeah. Yeah, had to go get a little water. All right. Oh yes, man. This is it goes deeper, man. It goes deeper. You know, everything that's on the surface is not what it seemed to be. Okay, because the true history is not being taught. All right. The true history is not being taught. It's like we have a people that's running our land, running every aspect of our lives, and they have all this power with police and no, something like you have to ask yourself, no, what happened? How did that happen? When all we heard of was we came on slave ships, we heard of the Spaniards, okay, we heard of the Arabs, we heard of the British. So if we heard of the British, then how the hell is all these Jews running everything? Because guess what? Some of these Jews, they again impersonated the British. So you have to realize what's going on. You have to realize what's going on. All right. And once again, this is not about white and black. No, it's not. No, it's not. However, we have to stick to our own, build ourselves, and do what we got to do. Period. Okay. So let us move forward. All right. The next book we're gonna go into, we just did the history of the Moreno. Now, I truly would love. I mean, I wish I wanted to read more. Honestly, I've only been on for a little over an hour. Let me ask a question. Do you guys want me to read a few more paragraphs, or should I go on to the next book? I mean, it's totally up to you guys right now. All right, totally up to you guys right now. Hey, just let me get should I move on to the next book, or should I just read a few more paragraphs from this book? I'm just waiting on a quick response. The first person to give me the response, that's what I'm gonna go with. All right, let's make this a little interactive. I want to make sure that you guys are with me, that you're right there. All right. So let me know real quick. Should I continue to the next book, or should I read a few more paragraphs? All right, so we're moving on. All right, good. Thank you, Jazz. All right, so we're gonna move on. All right. Please, you guys, the book is on the website, our university section. Take your time and read the book. All right. We are moving on. Okay. So now we're gonna go to the Black Conquistadors. Okay, the Black Conquistadors. And now that's going to open up your eyes some more, because once again, I'm here to point out the truth, and I ain't got time for the BS. Okay, I ain't got time for that. All right, so let me close out Moreno, and we're going to go into the Black Conquistadors. Once again, hey, support the channel, man. Give a donation, go to the website, get your book. All right, we're going to go to the Black Conquistadors. And I'm not going to read everything. However, I'm going to read enough so that you know what the point that I'm making, or I'm making an attempt to bring across. All right. Let me see if I can open that up some more. Yes, we can. All right. There we go. So that's big enough. I believe that everybody could see this. All right. So this is the Americas. All right. Copyright by the Academy of the American Franciscan History, the Black Conquistadors, armed Africans in early Spanish America. My brothers and sisters, like I tell y'all before, you see, when Chief Kalinago talking, I just don't talk. I show proof. All right? I show proof. So when people get mad and dislike the videos because of the emotions, it's not that it's not true. It's because they are in denial. And they don't realize the Nile is a river running all the way from Africa to the Americas. That is the Nile. So stop being in the Nile if you can't swim. But don't get mad about the information, because I'm showing facts. And I'm about to, again, connect more of the dots. That's what I've been talking about. And we're going to expose some shit today. Okay? Juan Carredo, Black resident, de color negro vecino of this city, Mexico, appear before your mercy and state that I am in need of making a probanza to perpetuity of the king, a perpetual raid, a report on how I served your majesty in the conquest and pacification of this new Spain from the time when the Marqués del Valle Cortés entered it. So once again, I hope you guys have seen where I'm going with this. All right. I know some of y'all already saying, damn. All right. But, let us continue here for a second. Right. And it in this company, I was present at all the invasions and conquests and pacifications which were carried out, always with the said Marquez, all of which I did at my own expense without being given either salary or allotment or of natives repartimiento de indios or anything else. So basically, this black resident, okay, Juan da Garrido, of course, you might think that's a Mexican or Spanish. No, that was a black African, okay? And he did all that, and he did it on his own free will, okay? And he wasn't given, he did it on his own expense. In other words, he paid his flight. He did everything, sacrificed his own self without giving a salary or allotment of natives, because that's what they used to do. When you come, you put in your work, they would even give you some land and give you some natives to work your lands to be slaves. Okay? As I am married and a resident of the city where I have always lived, and also I went with the Marquez de Val to discover the island, which are in part of the southern sea, the Pacific, where there was much hunger and privation. And also I went to discover and pacify the islands of San Juan de Barranquilla de Puerto Rico. Yes, of course. And also I went on the pacification and conquest of the island of Cuba with the Adelantado de Diego Valanquez. All those are Jews. Okay? He was helping the Jews. Man, I'm telling y'all, I'm about to blow y'all mind today. Well, not literally, but I'm talking about open up your mind some more. All right? For these reasons stated above, do I petition your mercy, and also because I was the first to have the inspiration to sow maize here in New Spain and to see if it took, and did this experimented at my own expense. All right? Man, wow. While the role of the people of Africa descent in Latin America colonization is relatively well known, Peter Gerhard once noted it is for the most part an impersonal history. Gerhard's brief biographical essay on Juan Garrido, a black conquistador in Mexico, was his contribution to the personalization of the black history in Spanish America. All right? More than 2 decades later, that process of personalization and contextualization still has a long way to go. This article places Juan Garrido in the specific biographical context of black conquistadors who fought and settled in other regions of Spanish America, from Yucatan to Chile, see Table 1, and in the broader historical context of the black experience in the Spanish America, see the articles that follow in this issue of the Americas. The sources for this endeavor are a combination of primary material, mostly the genre of colonial chronicles, but including a few archival items, and secondary works, some predating Gerhard's essay, but some representing recent work. The article's purpose is thus, first, to marshal the widely scattered evidence on the topic with a view to making the broad and simple, but hereto inadequately substantiated, if not marginalized, point that Africans were an ambiguous and pivotal part of Spanish conquest campaigns in the Americas. You hear that? Africans were, so a lot of people just think Africans came here as slaves. No, they also came here as agents. And guess who the agents were? Once again, it's facts over feelings, man. All right? Second, to articulate whatever patterns are visible in the black conquest roles and to locate African participation in the phases of Spanish expansion. And third, to argue that such roles should be seen in a longer-term colonial context, whose most notable features were the existence of black militias and individuals whom I have termed black counter conquistadors. Okay, so they had black militias of Africans that assisted, okay, in the taking over of our land. From the very onset of Spanish activity in the Americas, and don't forget, when you hear Spanish, yes, there were actually some Spaniards, but after it was infiltrated by the Jews acting as Spanish people. Okay, Africans were present both as voluntary expeditionaries and as involuntary colonists. You hear that? Now, let me explain to you what that means. All right. Africans were present both as voluntary expeditionaries. In other words, to go on an expedition. All right. They volunteered. A lot of them did. And involuntary colonists. In other words, you have to know what a colonist is. Okay. A colonizer, a colonist is someone who comes to colonize another region. But some of them came involuntarily. In other words, they were forced to come help. All right. To assist in the colonization of our land. Likewise, from the onset, the roles played by people of African descent can be placed in three overlapping categories. The category that would soon include the majority of blacks in colonial Spanish America was that of the mass slave. That is, slaves shipped en masse there to the colonies and forced to work in labor, gangs, various industries, but most typically on sugar plantations. Beginning as early as 1505, enslaved men and women were imported increasingly large numbers to the Spanish colonies, at first from the Iberian kingdoms, but soon directly from Africa. King Ferdinand authorized in the first months of 1510 the transportation to Hispaniola. Once again, Hispaniola, now back then it was the combination of Haiti and Dominican Republic, of 250 African slaves. That was in 1510. Thus formally began the transatlantic expansion of the slave trade that would last into the 19th century and bring millions of Africans in chains to European colonies in the Americas. That trade is not the immediate topic of this article, but it does provide the broader context to the phenomenon of black conquistadors in Spanish America. The second category of Spanish American blacks was that of the auxiliary police have guns? No, they don't. But they are the police, right? My brothers and sisters, there's nothing new under the sun. All right? And I'm here to elevate your mind. That's what I'm here for. These were men and women who were born either in okay, let's go either in, let me just go. We will come back to that. Either in West Africa or in the Iberian kingdoms, more likely the latter in the early decades after Spaniards first crossed the Atlantic. All right, now let us go back up here and see some of the names. All right, look at some of the names. Juan Garredo, Africa or Portugal. Sebastian Toral, African slave, the Yucatan. Pedro Fulapo, Africa slave. So really, where are the Spaniards really from? Now it begs the question, if these people have the names, okay, and they didn't come to impersonate Spaniards, they must have been the Spaniards because they already had those names and they came of their own free will. So they didn't have to be in disguise. So why did all these so-called African men have all these Spanish names? That's because a lot of them were Spaniards. Man, I hope y'all connecting the dots here now. Okay? Spain, Free Mulatto, Peru, Juan Valiente, Africa, that slave, Juan Beltram, or they could have been given those Spanish names. All right, I don't want to go into too much speculation on that part, but that was just something that came to mind. All right, again, that's based on interpretation. Slaves, though they were more typically the latter, likely to acquire their freedom in the Americas than armed auxiliaries, even if the militarized environment of the early conquest years often blurred the line between the armed and unarmed. So let me just explain to you what we just read. Okay, they came as servants or slaves. They're saying typically more of the latter, meaning that they came more as slaves. All right, but however, a lot of them, acquired freedom in the Americas as armed auxiliaries, okay, or part of the military, that their freedom. Okay, and they're saying you couldn't really tell the difference between the armed and unarmed because they wore the same uniforms. It's just that some of them didn't carry guns. Okay, the experience, and isn't that what's happening today? We got our brothers and sisters that are police officers in the army fighting the war of the Jews to maintain control over the world and control over our own land, our own people, but they don't know the history because they think it's a job. Job. Yeah, nah. You helping enslave your people. You're working for the colonizers. That's the problem. The experience of the black auxiliaries was markedly different from that of the mass slaves for these reasons. They functioned as individuals alone or in small groups as personal dependents or agents of their Spanish masters right? And I'm certainly sure we still have a lot of agents today. All of them still calling you black and African American, but you can't open up your eyes to see that. You still support them. Although the conditions certainly never tolerable, nor in their evidence that any slaves in the Spanish world perceived it as any circumstances, some slaves in this category were granted considerable and relative freedom of movement. The focus of this article is that auxiliary of African descent. These were men ranging from African-born slaves to Iberian-born free men of mixed racial ancestry, although black women were among the first Africans in the Americas. Yes, and I didn't even know that they brought a lot of African black women here first in the Americas. Again, you see, we have to know the truth, man. I have found no evidence of any plain armed roles. See Table 1. The enslaved acquired freedom soon after they began fighting alongside Spaniards, if not before. Very few black conquistadors seem to have remained slaves after their participation in the conquest. So again, they sold out. All right. So yes, a lot of them came as slaves, but in less than no time, they became, you know what, agents because they wanted their freedom. They sold out. They sold out, and later we will tie and put everything into perspective, and we will bring this puzzle into full circle. All right. Such men tended to hold predictable posts during and after the conquest, and to become part of the early colonial life in certain ways. They are few in number, but their lives sufficiently conform to certain patterns for analytical generalizations to be made about them. Nor did the phenomenon of the black conquistador end with the initial series of Spanish conquest. As argued later in this article, it survived in various forms throughout the colonial period and remained an important part of the black experience in Spanish America. Africans as armed auxiliary, 16th century. Whatever Spaniards set forth, wherever Spaniards set foot in the Americas as members of conquest companies, they were accompanied by black conquistadors. You hear that? And I'm going to bring all and show you who these black conquistadors were. They're calling them black right now. All right? Some individual examples are presented in Table 1 to 4 and will be discussed later in the terms of their collective biographical pattern. But it is worth offering first of all a brief narrative summary of such examples arranged in approximate chronological and geographical sequence according to the three major phases or chains of Spanish conquest in the 16th century Americas. Juan Garrido's Caribbean experience closely follows the patterns of the first phase of Spanish expansion from the mid to the late 1500s. See Table 2. Arriving in Santo Domingo in 1502 or 1503, Garrido was among the earliest Africans to reach the Americas, and that was in 1502. All right, recent. As Columbus was a product of the Italian-Portuguese community, a crucial in the slave-based colonization of the Eastern Atlantic in the late 15th century, black slaves or servants may have traveled with him to the Caribbean in 1490s. Although the best evidence for such participants is the assertion in some accounts that Alonso Pietro, a pilot of the Nina on the 1492, a mulatto. Yes, okay, that was a conquistador, a black conquistador. Certainly on his fourth voyage in 1502, Columbus traveled with black cabin boy named Diego, who may have been other than a slave. Thus same year, a black slave was sent to trade in Hispaniola, along with other agents of Juan de Cordoba, a converso merchant who was of Columbus. Okay, now a converso is converted from being a moreno or black or a Moor. Okay, so again, I'm showing y'all the proof. I'm showing y'all the proof and the evidence, and I'm not going based on emotions. I'm showing facts, and it's facts over feelings when I drop these jewels on y'all. All right, they were conversos. And that's what we are dealing with here today. A lot of conversos, okay, still in operation, still getting paid to try to get us to sell our birthright. Y'all better wake the hell up. Black conquistadors in the Spanish colonies also came from 1502. In that year, the new governor of Hispaniola, Nicolas de Anvando, brought with him from Spain a number of Iberian-born black slaves, not only to work, but to help keep the population subdued. And that was in 1502. When did the Moors lose their reign in Spain? That was in 1492, right? So then they were enslaved, right? Two together. They didn't want to be slaves no more. So they decided to be agents. Okay? Like I said. Nevertheless, in the ensuing decade, King Ferdinand permitted and encouraged the taking across the Atlantic of black slaves who continued to enter the colony in small but numbers and to participate in Spanish expansion in the region. In 1508, Paul took armed Africans to help him conquer Puerto Rico, while Diego Velasquez similarly used black auxiliaries in his conquest of Cuba in 1511 to 1512. You hear that? They took a number to participate in the Spanish expansion in 1508. Ponce de Leon took armed Africans. So they were not. Don't let nobody fool you with that bullshit. Okay? They participated voluntarily because they wanted their freedom after they lost their reign in Europe. Okay? They came as armed forces to take over Puerto Rico, the Taínos, the Borinquens, okay? Cuba, Taíno. In 1515, Velasquez wrote to the king that many black slaves were taken on the invasion of Cuba, but none were left there after its pacification due to lack of royal authorization and because that would not be convenient to your majesty. Velasquez probably had concern they had to pacify them, all right, because they didn't trust them, because those people, those dudes, those Moors that came as slaves to help, all right, or that came to help them, they had ambition, because remember, they were the ones that run Spain, so they knew they had ambition, so they couldn't trust them, all right, so they didn't keep them there. Thus, the blacks in the Americas were in the category of auxiliaries. In other words, they took their damn guns. Nigga, we don't trust y'all niggas. Okay? Y'all help us, you know, we did what we had to do. Unarmed, loyal ones, they kept them armed to look over the ones that they made auxiliaries. Probably a few in the 1490s on voyages of exploration, and several dozens, perhaps up to 100 in 1502 to 1510 as, we'll come back to that, as merchants, agents, supervisors of indigenous mining gangs, and personal servants, all right? So once again, I'm showing you the role that these people played, showing you that we were not there. Now look at some of 1480, born in West Africa and either sold as a slave to Portuguese traders or traveled voluntarily into Portugal. And we're talking about the biography of that Juan Garrido, 1495. Arrives in Lisbon, becomes a Christian, later moves to Seville, enslaved. He likely became free. 1503, crosses Atlantic to Santo Domingo, possibly as a servant of a Spanish named Pedro Garrido. Okay, 1508 to 1519, participates in the conquest of Puerto Rico and Cuba, in the supposed conquest of Guadalupe and Dominica, which is the country that I was from, you bastards. All right. So now you know why I strongly feel the way I feel about us telling the truth, about me telling the truth about we ain't no damn Moors. Okay. Because they helped take over the country I was born in the discovery of Florida, in otherwise resident in Puerto Rico. So we don't have to go through we don't have to go through his biography, okay? That you could read on your own. This is personal to me, all right? As the flow of blacks from the old world to the new world increased in the lips and bonds, so did the black servants become omnipresent in the Spanish enterprises and household in the Americas. Spaniards were soon writing of black slaves and servants as indispensable to the empire, its strength and sinew. Although some black conquistadors seem to have existed before 1510, Garrido among them, in primarily after this date, that armed black servants and slaves began to play significant military roles in the Spanish conquest enterprises. So once again, I'm showing you, all right, that yes, it's people look like us, our African brothers, all right, who help enslave us, who help take over our lands. No, I'm not saying that to create animosity. I'm saying, I'm showing you the truth so that you could open up your eyes and see and realize the agents among us. They still exist today. Okay? That movement is still alive and well. And they are the last frontier that we have to deal with. Get over that hump before we could truly start regaining grounds in our own land. All right? Our Spaniards began to move. Quick second and go back. I don't know, man. All of a sudden, you know, it happened again. You know, it happened again, brothers and sisters. They cut my shit off. All right, but it's all good though. All right, it's all good. I'm gonna try to get it back. I'm gonna try to get it back. All right, you know, it's you know, some of the powers are working against us right now, but we're not gonna let them now. We're not. Nah, we're gonna get back on track. We're gonna get back on track. All righty. Damn. What now? This is some bullshit, yo. I'm presenting to everybody. Okay, my screen sharing. So what happened? All of a sudden, my stuff cut out. See that? Ay, Dios mío. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Because my stuff cut out. I don't know what happened. This is some BS, man. Can you guys hear me? 1 2 1 2. I know you could hear me, right? Can you guys hear me? Oh, yes, you can hear me, right? But for some reason, you know, my camera, you know, like they knocked out my damn camera, man. What the hell? Audio is fine. Okay, if I turn off camera is on. What's going on here, man? This is some B. And let me see if I could. Let me try to do another screen if you guys could see the information, because all right, so I'm doing a screen share right now. Can you guys screen? Let me see. All right, let me see. Okay, let me go. This is some BS, yo, for real. I knew they was gonna try some BS. I knew it. Okay, to the live. Okay. Okay, so the screen seems to be black, so I can't like for some reason. They knocked off my. I know it's not. That's like I start dropping them jewels like that, and that's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all, man, this is real. This is real. So I'm trying to figure out how I could get that back. How can I get that back? Damn. Let me see. Guys, let me see if I could figure this out. What is this? Cameraman. And download app. What's going on here? Okay. For some reason my camera is not working. Microphone is good. The settings. All right, built-in insight. Yes, that's good. Okay. Wow. All right, Chief, don't stress, don't stress, don't stress. Yeah, don't stress. You know what? I may have to continue reading, but I'll be able to to the information. All right. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys gonna be able to see the information. So let me see what else I could do here. Let me see. All right. Create live stream is on. Okay. Damn. Video manager. Camera is on. Google on air. Camera. Alrighty. Custom camera. Camera. Let me see that. All right, and please, I'm trying to figure this out because I want you guys to allow access to your camera. Okay, allow. Okay. Alrighty. All right, so there we go. I think it's back now. Yo, I swear. So let me see right now. Okay, so what's going on here? It says more public. All right, next, camera streaming full. Next. All right. All right. Nope. No, we good. We good. All righty. All right, camera. All right, so let me see now. Because I can't, I know the camera is back on. I'm not sure. I know. Okay. All right, so I'm still getting this. Son of a bitch. No, camera. All right, anyway. Yeah. Schedule. Turn this. All right, next. All right, more options. Built-in camera. Yep. Built-in camera. Okay, that's what I'm using. This is some BS. Yo. But anyway, I'm not gonna get disappointed. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna go ahead and read. I know you guys won't be able to see this, but I'm gonna still read because you guys can hear me. So that's the most important thing. But it's just funny how that happened. Okay. But you guys could still hear me, right? Just making sure. I want to do a part on what the hell happened, honestly. All right, good. So you know what? Read and You guys would have to go read the books on the website to read. Yeah, all right, because I'm honestly I'm not gonna stop. Okay, so let me see. Hopefully, present to everybody. All right, and hopefully come back on. So we just began to move onto the okay by a number of black auxiliaries. Juan Gorredo being the best known to us, but not necessarily in his Spanish contemporaries. Of the blacks who accompanied Cortez and the others, first generation conquistadors in Mexico, we know the name of one, Francisco, who may have soon died as he was alleged to have introduced smallpox to Mexico. So you see that? It wasn't a so-called British that Mexico. No, it was an African, a Moor. All right, it was a Moor that smallpox to Mexico. Another slave of the conquistadors name, Juan Cortez. How many of y'all didn't know Juan Cortez was a black African, a Moor? He also introduced smallpox into Mexico. Okay, those servants of Cortez who appear to be black in accompanying the 16th century history by Dominican Fiera, Diego Duran, and in a similar illustration in the Codex as or one of both of these servants may be Juan Cortez. That this is just as likely that these portraits represent, in the words of Shahaganu's Florentine Codex, Spaniards came some crisply curled just figures in the Spanish invaders. Native nobles, so do the black figures here represent the presence at these events. So yes, a lot of them didn't have this so as well, okay? Because a lot of Spaniards, the auxiliaries in the expeditions that of Cortez in those difficult to access, as Spanish them or mention them all in early conquest years when conquistadors relied more on credit than ready capital. Editions were highly valued and extremely as Bernal in his operations in Cuba by Cortes at the time, blacks and horses, blacks, figure one, Cortes being, okay, give me a second, their weight in gold. Indeed, the last protagonist in Diaz's narrative, Juan Sedeno was the richest man in the fleet, for he came with Mir in his own ship and brought a black man was a latter historian. Only one black is, and that man must therefore have Varado. But while black conquistadors were the early black presence was than Gerhard's implied because of his color. The only Negro vecino in Mexico City, once called Negroes, and that term was applied to us. Okay, that term was applied to us. And when they introduced the Negro Act, okay, Negro Act, they were first called Negroes. I'm telling y'all, they were the Negroes, they were the blacks, they were the Moors, they were called Negroes. But then that term applied to each and every one of us American Aborigines. And when they introduced the Negro Act, they didn't want to. So that's when they started to, their people across the seas to create acts like the more to not to, but to object of the Sultan. y'all, I'm putting the pieces together and for real. Okay? Let me continue here. All right, including the see, no Dino and alone in bringing black dependence, a conquistador's daughter, and whose father and uncle participated in Punoko and Guatemala, asserted that they brought 2 horses, a servant, and 2 black men. Juan Garrido was neither the only African to participate in the Tenochtitlan nor the sole black member of the Spanish expeditions to the west. He and up to Mohican in the 1520s and Guzman swept through that region 29 to 50 with auxiliaries. Likewise to the Mexico South in the decades following the 1521 found on conquest campaigns and established colonies together with auxiliaries. Among them was black in Africa who had been of Toral, Mexico to Yucatan by Francisco de Montejo during his second unsuccessful into the peninsula in 1530s and returned there in 1540 with the Montijo-led invasion. The Montijo had been since in 1533 to import up to 100 slaves, and while it is not permit was fully used, it had been alone as armed slaves during by 1540 the Montejos were able to black auxiliary. Experience was not only that of combat, but specifically that of Mayas. Again, it wasn't just playing part in combat, but they were also engaging, all right, experience with the Mayas. At least once a Mayan language during the Mojito conquest campaigns, nor would Sebastian Torrel have been the sole surviving black of the Yucatec. Others would have joined Torral as a black settler in near where he won his freedom and lived late into the century. Some of the black accompanied Pedro de Alvarado on his 1524 conquest into Highland were only among the first settlements early capital in Malonga. Some of these would have been among the 200 blacks that Alvarado with him to Peru 10 years. Though others were brought Valentiente came from outside Guatemala in order to join the expedition of the blacks remaining in Santiago in Malonga. No, some from the conquistador generation, others killed, devastated by the torrential landslide of 15. One more paragraph, and then you guys can read that for yourself. To the north of Mexico, blacks also accompanied Spaniards in their campaigns of exploration. Blacks were their expedition into the Mexican North 20s. African slaves accompanied the 1526 expeditioners under Lucas Vaz Leon. After 3 months, Spaniards returned to Santo Domingo, abandoning a small settlement, possibly among with the surviving blacks, some of whom had already escaped. A Moroccan-born black man named Esteban walked from Florida to Mexico City with Alva Nunes Cabiza de Vaca on his well-known 1528 to 1536 journey. You hear that? A born black man named a Moroccan. He walked from Florida to Mexico. So once again, I'm showing you the lands was connected, okay? And you could still do it. You could still go from Florida to Mexico, but he walked. And that was in 1528 to 1536. In a subsequent expedition of 1539, Esteban appears to have been the first non-native to reach the region that would become New Mexico, although his death there prevented him from taking full credit for the discovery. The misguided Cortez venture to Baja California in 1530s, including 300 Africans, almost equal in number to the Spaniards. Hernando de Soto took 50 slaves on the unsuccessful Florida expedition of 1537. Black slaves were also part of the ill-fated Luna e Arellano attempt to conquer and settle Florida in 1559 to 62. In 1565, Menendez de Aveles took a number of Africans to the region. Indeed, it is very likely that every Spanish campaign into the American region north of Mexico City, being largely financed by the conquistadors in Mexico and Peru, included black slaves and servants. All right, so that's enough right there. I just want y'all to show and prove to you I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not just making this up because I have something against people who call themselves Moors. No, I don't. But I am showing you the role that these people played in taking over our land and the conquest of our land. And they want to give us their titles. We are not Moors. Okay? Those are invaders. They are conquistadors. They are conversos. All right? And they are still in place today. Now, seeing that you guys can see what I'm reading, you would have to go. I got to page 13 from page 35. I just wish you could have seen what I was reading. However, I'm going to continue to go to the next book. And the next book, let me just bring that out. The next book is The Negro Companion. All right. I'm letting y'all know, man, they were the Negroes. Don't let them fool you, brothers and sisters. We're going to go to the next one right now. Okay. And I'm proving everything that I'm saying. I ain't making this shit up. Okay. I'm not making this up. So they could bring all type of peace and friendship and all type of bullshit they want to bring. I'm bringing the facts. I'm bringing the facts. Negro Companion of the Spaniards. Man, I just wish y'all could have seen, like exactly what I'm showing you. But you know what? Use your imagination, visualize, and also what you could do is you could go read it yourself. Okay, this is about 13 pages. I'm going to read all 13 pages, all right? Okay, let me just make sure you guys are with me. Are you guys still with me? Are you guys still with me? Just making sure you guys are still with me. I know you can't see me, but just making sure you're still with me. You're hearing my audio. Are you guys still with me? I just need one person to say yes, or we good, or whatever. I just need verification that you guys are still with me. Because these people are playing with my live feed right now. They literally took out my camera. And it's okay, great. Thank you, Brother Tyler. I appreciate that. All right, so let us go back. We're gonna go back to our nation's website, and we're gonna go and look for that book, The Negro Companion of the Spaniards. All right, now that's 13 pages, so I'm gonna read everything. Okay, but you could go read it yourself and see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, Negro Companion of the Spanish Explorers. And that source is American Anthropologist new series, okay? Published, all the information is here. So let us make this, and that was published, I think, the series of 1902, okay? So that definitely I've been around for a minute, all right? So let us get into this, and let's make this thing happen right here. It's okay. They're not going to stop this knowledge from flowing, though. I'll tell you that. Now, check this out. I want you guys to pay attention and visualize exactly what I'm saying right there, okay? Negro Companions of the Spanish Explorers by R.R. Wright. The fact seems to be well established that Negroes were introduced into the New World with the first discoveries and explorers. Indeed, there is evidence which leads to the surmise that some of the pre-Columbians may have been Negroes. Okay, they are not talking about American Aborigines because we were not called Negroes. They called us, we were Aborigines, but when they came, they called us Indians. They called us the copper-colored races. We were not considered Negroes. The Negroes were the Africans. Okay, and then they just deemed that name to all of us, or coined that name to all of us, just like how they coined black, and just like how these Moors want to call each and every one of us Moors. But I'm going to break this down today, okay, like I've always been doing in the past. Peter Martyr, a learned historian and an acquaintance of Columbus, mentions a region not 2 days' journey from Quaraqua's territory in the Darien district of South America, where Balboa, the illustrious discovery of the Pacific Ocean, found a race of black men who were conjectured to have come from Africa and to have been shipwrecked on this coast. In connection with this statement may be noted a report by Bureau of Ethnology which describes early American pottery with physiognomies of decided African lineaments. And when you have people such as what's his name, Ivan Sertimir, those people show it in their reports. Well, they came before Columbus. Yes, there were a few Africans here, and some of the pottery could prove that. Okay, but what he's not telling you is that he's making the statement that those people, well, I don't want to misquote the man, but based on what people saying, the narrative that he is coming from, or the perspective that he's coming from, they're saying that those people, what we were Africans. But I'm sure you know that there were also Africans here. All right, they had their customs and their cultures, but they were small groups. All right, they were small groups. They were in isolated areas. Okay, now the late Justin Winsor stated in a letter to the writer that there is a possible chance that at some early time the ocean currents may have swept across some of the Canaries and the African coast canoes with Gowunchis and the African tribes, from which some considerable strains of Negro blood may have mixed with the pre-Columbian people of the tropical America. And that is true. Remember, in a previous, I think it was yesterday, I spoke about the Gowunchis, okay, the Canaries. That were Africans, the so-called Negroes, okay. And of course, because of the proximity of the land, all right, during traveling, because of the wave of the waters and the ocean, a lot of them got lost, and they ended up on our shores without a way of going back because of the tides, and they kind of blending into our communities. Okay, so that was before even Columbus. Now, the good Bartholomew de las Casas, the protector of the Indians, is often charged with the introduction of the Negro slavery into this continent. It is claimed that he introduced Negroes, slaves, to relieve the hard work natives. And it is charged that at one inauspicious moment of his life that he advised a course which has ever been seen, the one blot upon his well-earned fame, and too often has this advice been the only thing which has occurred to men's minds respecting him when his name has been mentioned. He certainly did advise that Negroes should be brought to the New World. I think, however, wrote author in the Spanish this advice, and that it had long before been largely acted upon. That Las 1498 with his father accompanied Columbus and was therefore familiar with the companions of the latter, and especially with Abando, the successor to the discovery in the government of the Indies. It was during the year 1501 that Columbus from the government of the Indies, and he may probably himself have been cognizant of the fact that Negro slaves had been introduced into the Spanish farther, but all beyond this surmise. The year 1501 in the date of the earliest reference in American history to the Negroes coming from Spain to America. Now let me ask you a question. I thought the Negroes came from Africa. But in 1501 is the date reference in American history from Spain to America. Once again, I thought the black people came from Africa, or the Moors came from Africa. Why are these Negroes coming from Spain? You know why they're coming from Spain? Because Spain, they were enslaved by the Spaniards. Okay? That's why they had Spanish names. Those were the Moors who lost their power. Once again, I'm connecting the dot. Sir Arthur Helps, in his Spanish conquest in the Americas, states that in the year mentioned, instruction the authorities, Jews and Moors or new converts would not go to the Indies or to remain there. Negroes born in the power were allowed to pass to the Indies, and to officers of the royal revenue the money to be paid. From this time, Negroes were more or less from personages in the West Indies. I'm going to repeat myself because, like I said, we were not called Indians. And I'm going to read that passage again. I mean, I just wish y'all could see this. But once again, I want y'all to go read it for yourself. Okay? Go read it for yourself. Alps, in his Spanish conquest of the America, states that in the year mentioned, instructions were given to the authorities that while Jews, I just showed you who were the pretending to be Spaniards, and Moors. Again, there was a distinction between Moors and Indians. No, we were not no damn Moors. So for all you Moors who want and say, oh, we are Moors, no. You are Moriscos. Okay? You are conquistadors. You are helping them out. You are the Morenos. You are the black conquistadors who assisted taking over land. So don't come tell us we more. I'm tired of, okay? Mad in your feelings and nah, man. All right? And I'm not going to apologize for that. Okay? Because y'all keep playing these games and we ain't going to do it. We're not going to do it because y'all was forbidden by the Spaniards took over your rule in Spain. You and the Jews, these, okay? But the only way you were granted permission because born into Christianity. So y'all helped bring that bullshit here to our land. So you will, all right? And don't get me upset, yeah. On September 15th, King Ferdinand of Spain wrote to Ovando, then governor of Hispaniola, a letter of the following tenure. I will send more Negro requests, 100. And my brothers and sisters, I'm talking about coming from Spain. They wasn't coming from Africa. They was coming from Spain. Those were the Moors that was enslaved after they lost in 1492. So don't let these dudes fool you, man. Don't let them. People are lost. They are lost, okay? And the Moors is the last. They are the last pawn being used, okay, from retrieving our birthright because they want to make you subjects of Morocco. That BS, all right? If y'all want to be, man, listen, that's on you. telling you the truth and I'm showing you the proof. Okay? All the stuff that they do is they go get paperwork and then call docs and Moors into everything. Moors. The Washingtons didn't call themselves no damn. They injected the word. Okay? Although you had some of them who actually was confused and lost and misled. But our people would never call ourselves, or called Moors, but we didn't call ourselves Moors. All right? At each time, a trustworthy poll with they share the gold they may collect and ease if they work well. You hear that? They sold us out for the bag of gold. This, he had become governor. Ovando had objected to the importation of Negro slaves on the ground that they fled among the Indians and taught them bad customs and never would be captured. You hear that? So let me ask you a question. Right? If the Indians were the so-called natives, how the hell could these Negroes come and blend among the Indians, okay, and teach us bad customs, and that they would never be captured? How come they didn't say the Moors, all right, or these so-called Negroes went amongst the Negroes? Why they had to separate that and call us Indians? Because we were not no damn Negroes. We were not no damn Moors. Okay? But because when they came, because remember, these Moors, they are very ambitious. Okay, they are very ambitious. They are very aggressive. So they didn't want them to come here. But when they were very ambitious, remember they were slaves. So when they brought them, okay, they escaped and they blended in amongst the Indians. Now let me ask you a question. If the native people were the original people they called the Indians, how come these Negroes could blend between them? That is my question I'm asking y'all. And I'm waiting for some feedback on the live chat. I'm waiting for some. So when they want to get mad and get all emotional, okay, I'm bringing the facts over feelings. Okay, we were called Negroes because of y'all. We were called Moors because of y'all. Negroes. Y'all are the blacks, not us. And that's why y'all adopt the term Moor to distract us. But guess what? It ain't gonna happen because more, okay? It still means more. I don't want to be called black, but which is the same thing. Right. Playing with the wrong one though, because I'm not gonna. Anyway, let me continue here. In 1510, according to Antonio de Herrera, a historiographer, to Philip II, King Admiral had given order that they should send 50 Negroes, which are Moors, from Spain to work in the mine. You see that? After they lost their power, they became slaves. That's why they are so aggressive in team, because they want to thirst that so that's why they become subject of it's a plan, but y'all falling for it though. Y'all was. The next year, 1511, the king complained in the language like this: I do not Negroes have care of them. 27, 1514, request of the Bishop of La Concepcion in Hispaniola said that there were, and it might occasion inconvenience bills to be introduced into the island. Okay, so once again, a lot of these people were being imported as slaves, but also all these Negroes came from Africa. That's a lie. A lot of them came from Spain, looking for freedom, put out. They wanted to help. They went to the master and said, we could help. Okay, there seems, therefore, cessation that rather the number of Negroes sent to the New World. On his Spanish throne, Charles V. Grant for the introduction of Negroes to the number of 400. From this time onward, the importation of Negroes into the considerably, and the monopoly was greedily sought by, more eagerly bestowed by the King Charles in 1523. Like I said, my brothers and sisters, all this Negro, okay, because Africa was considered to be part of literally Spain continent, okay? So don't be fooled. Those are more, those business, but because they're so ambitious, they went in bed with the Spaniards, with the Jews, the conquistadors. They became the black men, the black, okay, and eventually later they got in bed with the British. So every other of colonizers that stood and fought against us, the Moors joined them. Yes, I'm telling the damn truth. And they could hate me. I don't give a damn. Okay? There was sent to Hispaniola 15,000, half of these were males. In Cuba, 300. To Jamaica, most to Jamaica as well. For all you Jamaicans who think, oh yeah, oh, they send the Moors amongst you. That's why that group, when they mixed with the indigenous, called the what? The Maroons. Those were mixed with indigenous people. 500 to the province of Castilla, onto the mainland. Okay, the mainland, the United States. By 1528, there were in the New World, according to of the Indies, nearly 10,000 Negroes. And that's only by 15. When you're talking about all these millions and millions and millions and millions, stuff is exaggerated. Okay? It's exaggerated. Yes, it was a large number, but it wasn't as what they said it was. Okay? So I'm showing you again. 1500 in Hispaniola. All right? That was males and females. Hispaniola is what's called Haiti and the Dominican Republic. All right? Those were Moors mixed in with indigenous people. In Cuba, 300. Jamaica, 300. And like I said, they mixed with the Aboriginal people and they call themselves the Maroons. The Maroons, Moors, Maroons. Now you get the picture. And 500 to the mainland. Okay? And by 1528, they're in the New World. They didn't just say in one part. According to Harrier's account of the Indies, in the Indies, nearly 10,000 Negroes. And they didn't come from Africa. No, they came from Spain. Those were Moors that was enslaved from their fall in Spain. It is said that the treatment of the Negroes was judiciously lenient. They had 4 months holiday. In Honduras in 1539, Francisco de Montejo sent a Negro of his who knew the Indian language to burn a native village. Yes, those were Moors. Yes, they learned our languages and they burned our villages. In 1554 in Peru, 30 Negroes, yes, Moors, accompanied a military force of 70 Spaniards, the conquistadors, under Francisco Hernandez. In 1541, in Tolanite, a settlement in New Galance, Mexico, the Indians killed a Negro, killed a Moor, de la Bavadela, perhaps the name of the owner, and robbed him of his cattle and hacienda, his establishment and everything he had. On April 14, 1559, the Cabildo, or Town of Council of Santiago de Chile, voted to grant a petition of Juan Tomé Vasquez, a free or enfranchised Negro. Now let me ask you a question. Why these Moors got Spanish names? That is because they took the names of their slave masters. Okay? They took the name of their slave masters. So when they came to the New World, all right, they have to change their names. They want to change their names because they don't want the connection to be known. So now you see the mindset of what's happening today. Y'all better wake up and smell the damn coffee, because y'all been duped. By allowing him possession of a lot of land in town, provided this was found to be vacant and unclaimed. The wording of the record seems to show that Vasquez received precisely the same treatment as the white applicants for permission to settle in the town. On St. Luke's Day, October 18, 1526, Lucas Vasquez de Leon died. According to the Navarrete, he was among the first to bring Negroes to present confines of the United States. So like I said, Moors were not here. Negroes were not here. Okay? And I'm talking about in October 1526. Okay? He was the first to bring Negroes, Moors, to the United States. So how the you know what? I'm not going to swear. So how the hell do Moors call themselves Aborigines? The problem is Aborigines got confused to believing they are Moors. That's the problem. Okay? He explored our eastern coast and attempted to find a colony of San Miguel de Guadalupe, since known as Jamestown, Virginia. Okay? My brothers and sisters, the Negroes that came to Jamestown, Virginia, they were not from Africa. They were Moors that came from Spain. Negroes. Negroes. And when the Negro, like I said, when the Negro Act was passed, they didn't want to be called Negroes no more. So they wanted to be under the subject of Morocco. They even skipped Spain. They went straight back to Morocco to be ruled and become subject of the Sultan. Y'all don't think I would have figured it out? Y'all don't think I'll tell my people the truth? Huh? Y'all don't think I'll tell them the truth? Oh, no. And I'm waiting for y'all to hit this video as much as y'all want. But I want y'all to show me the proof that you are who you say you are. Proof to me that you're an Aborigine. Because the only time you came into the Americas, okay, is in the late 1500s in Jamestown, Virginia. That's the first introduction of Negroes. Yes, you Spanish Moors, you Moors, into our land. So now you're still trying to come with the hostile takeover. Oh, we are all Moors, Islam family. Nah, man, take that bullshit back to Morocco, bruh. Take that shit back to Spain. We're not going to allow you guys to take over our land. No, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. And like I said back in the day, yes, I did put L behind my name because, you know, that was just popular. And as far as I was told, it was just a title. It's not that I thought I was a Moor. It was just a title. But when I realized the game that was being played, I say, nah, fuck that. I don't want no L in the back of my damn name. Nah, I'm an Aborigine. So y'all playing with the wrong one, though. I'll tell y'all that for sure. Anyway, let me continue the reading. All right? Now, I'm going to let you know again. All right? In this colony, under his successor, a Puerto Rican, the Negro, you hear that? A Puerto Rican, the Negroes were so grievously oppressed that they arose in insurrection against their oppressors and fired their houses. The settlement was broken up, and the Negroes and their Spanish companions returned to Haiti, where they had come. Okay? First, they brought them to Haiti, they brought them to Puerto Rico, and they fought and they brought them back to Haiti. All right? They brought them back to Haiti. So for a lot of you Haitians thinking that you're from Africa, no, you're not. Okay, you are Aborigines. This ended the first introduction and the first insurrection of Negroes on our eastern shores. Thus, Haiti, the place where Negro slaves were first introduced into the New World, was strangely enough the first to manifest an awful retribution against human slavery. You know why? My brothers and sisters, I'm connecting the dots. You know why? Because these Negroes were Moors. And then they were used to ruling. They were used to having empires. Okay, they were the one in power in Spain, but they became slaves. So when they went to Haiti, they still had that in them. They couldn't continue to be slaves for too long. So guess what they did? They joined the indigenous Aborigines and they revolted. And that's how Haiti was the first to become independent. Yes, credit due to some of the Moors, because they already knew how to fight those oppressors. Okay, so they joined the Aborigines and they fought, and Haiti was the first to gain its independence. I'm giving y'all the truth, man. This is not opinion. This is not feelings or perception. I'm giving you the facts. Okay? It would be interesting to know what part of aliens, fugitive Negroes, in the persons of the descendants, took in the dreadful revolution which swept over that island nearly 3 centuries later under the lead of Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, and their associates. Okay? Because they did help and assist. They did help and assist. All right? A singular incident connected with Leon's expedition along with this coast is the fact that he, with the assistance of his Negro slaves, all right, yes, the Moors were still slaves, okay? They were still slaves here in the Americas. Built the first ships constructed on our coast. This fact is, again, fact is not an opinion. This fact is made more interesting when it is known that Vasco Balboa had with him some 30 Negroes who in 1513 assisted in building the first ships on the Pacific coast of America. The introduction of Negroes into the western portion of the United States was about as early as the coming of the Spaniards, because what you have to realize, the Moors, they were not called blacks. Africans were called blacks, okay? And Moors were called Negroes. Even if they were still blacks, they call them everybody black at some point, but they identified themselves as they call them Negroes, okay? Negroes. So you have to realize the transition that we, the Aborigines, have been through to get us to stick to all those titles. George Bancroft thinks that there was no part of the United States into which the Spanish explorers did not land Negroes. You hear that? There was no part of the United States that they didn't drop off these Moors. No parts of the United States. And I show you again in Philadelphia in 1933, when these Moors in the own words said, after traveling and sojourning for so long, they found a home away from home, which was in Philadelphia. Facts over feelings. I have written to Spain for black slaves because I consider them indispensable for the cultivation of the land and the increase of the royal revenue. Like I said, they were also called black, but they started calling them more el negro, okay? Also, Gustav Adolf Berjanroth, the collector of Spanish papers, have shown that Negroes at an early date were considered and called the strength and sinew of the Western world. That's right. The Great Antilles especially had already been crowded with Negroes on the plea that they were sent thereafter with a view of facilitating the Christianization and to relieve the toil and suffering of the unfortunate natives. Yes, that's right. Who do you think the past? Because Christian. They were converted to Christ. So this is yes, it is. Not because it's your true religion. You were converted into Islamism. And then when you became to be converted to Christianism, and then you use Christianity into our land, and you become missionaries and ministers. Yes, that's right. The Negroes, the Moors. But their advent into the west of America was fraught with a good. In 30, there were enough to warrant an attempt of self-liberation from, because again, these Moors, they came from a rule and they became slaves. So it was in their nature to always fight back, because that's how they got that's how they got the rule in Spain. They went us. So they had that fighting nature in them. They always wanted to be grand on top. The I am, the self, whatever the hell. But y'all got caught up in that bullshit, huh? Well, guess what? I'm exposing it today. I'm exposing it today. And you see, they never, you heard what they said? Because they helped to Christianize the Indians. Their plan was to massacre the Indians friendly to the Spanish. You hear that? Our ancestors who became, guess what? The Negroes, yes, you so-called Moors, massacre the Indians, the copper. My brothers and sisters, don't get fooled and tricked with the okie dokes. Okay? Don't. They massacre the Indians friendly to the Spanish, form an alliance with the others, set up a government for themselves in the doing today. Doing to ancestors deed, always thinking they're Moors. Y'all better wake the fuck up. Speaking of this event, says that the Negroes neither accepted quarter. Their enterprise, however, failed. The trade captured and executed. In this connection, the story of the followers Bayano, a Negro insurgent captured and sent back to Spain. Why didn't they send him to Africa? Spain, because that's where they were slaves. It was in 1570 of Santiago del Príncipe. All right. Some reason for the Negroes imported by Spaniards were not savages, nor if any of them were normally what? Mohammedans or Spanish Catholics. Mohammedans. All right, so let's go look at the Mohammedan. Let me look that up. But I'm going to read it out to y'all. Man, y'all think this is a game, huh? Okay. A Mohammedan, okay, is a term, a Muslim. All right? That's why they tell you Muslims with the Muslims. It's all the same. The same way you saw, we don't practice Islam. To us means I master self, Lord, whatever the man. Listen, okay? You heard what this ignorant. They like how they. Guess what? They were already ruling Spain, so they knew how to set up governments. All right then. Servant who speak language with great beauty and exactness. Oh, so you most of the Mandingos, huh? Language very well. You know, you're so great in beauty and exactness. The Guinea of the Gold Coast, Negro and as the history states will attest. Like I said, that's in their nature to go over, take over lands and rule. But when they got ruled, they didn't like that. So they wanted to sell out our Aborigines, the Indians, the so-called Indians, and that's what happened. Bandelia says that the period in the history of the discovery African continent was during that part of the 16th century when the efforts of the Spanish from the already settled coast and isthmuses into the interior of both North and South America. It was during this interesting period that certain Negroes connected with the Spanish explorers rendered conspicuous services on missions. That's right. North America is not Morocco. Y'all call it Morocco because that's where y'all came from. Y'all hands. Okay? You guys are not from North America. Okay? After Spain, you took over, you lost your reign, and you became slaves, and then to on top, you sold and got a bag of gold and wanted to come here. And Mr. George Parker Winship in his Coronado expedition de la on of 1540, only one in the party who would message Colorado across the country to the Zunis in Mexico when wished to open communication with Coronado. In 1527, sometime prior to Coronado's expedition and the Buffalo Plains, to another Negro, perhaps the most conspicuous part in the early expedition and discoveries on this continent. You hear that? Conspicuous. Do you know what the definition of conspicuous is? I mean, I'm going to, and let us look at the definition of conspicuous. Conspicuous, standing out, clearly visible. All right? Standing out has to be so clearly visible. The man was just out in the open, no shame in his game. All right? He was a sellout, working with the Spaniards to take over the continent. Reference is here made, who was one of the 4 survivors of the ill-fated world made by Pamphilo de Narvaez from Spain, June 17th. And my brothers and sisters, again, why wasn't it from Africa? Yes, from Spain. All right, from Spain. 1527, having received from King Ferdinand a commission as governor of Florida, Rio de las Palmas, and Espiritu Santo. This is the best authenticated case at hand. Oh my goodness. Do you know what authenticated means? The best authenticated case at hand, however, of a Negro participating in exploring this continent. When you authenticate your birth certificate, to authenticate something, do you know what that means? Estanavanico or Estanavalilo, the Negro here referred to, was most likely not only a Negro who accompanied Narvaez from Spain in 1527, but he was the only one whose identity has been made known. He was the discovery of the Zuni Indians and in Mexico. He was the discoverer, okay, of the Zuni Indians. Why didn't they say the Negro Indians? Why didn't they say the Moor Indians? Exactly. That's because we would not call no damn Moors and Negroes. Okay? I think a fact now well known. It's a fact well known. They didn't say an opinion well known. It's a fact. It has often been claimed that Alva Nunez Cabeza de Veca, the treasurer of the ill-starred expedition of Narvaez, was the discoverer of that country. But Bandilea has shown quite conclusively that Cabeza de Vaca never saw New Mexico and that he was absent from the country at the time of the exploration of the New Mexican territory in 1539. Okay. The evidence which this authority adduces to show that the Zuni Indians, again, not Negro Indians, not Moor Indians, and now in Mexico, were not discovered by Cabeza de Vaca is, in the opinion of the writer, equally conclusive against the claim of discovery by any other man than the Negro Estevanelio. In other words, it was a Moor that discovered the Zuni Indians and what you call it, certain and certain parts of Mexico. It was a Moor. Bandelia's historical researches show beyond doubt that only one or two men can possibly be credited with the discovery. Frere Marcos de Niza, or his Negro guide and interpreter. He's what? His interpreter. Yes, these Moors were the interpreters. That's right, because they were among us. They learned our languages. Estevanilo or Estevanico, for a careful reading of his own narrative, does not reveal any evidence upon which the discovery can be attributed to Cabeza de Vaca. The only claimant worthy of consideration against Estevanilo is the Fiera Marcos de Niza. Bandelia habla supports Frere Marcos' claim to the honor of the discovery, but this claim can certainly have no foundation except as it is based upon the fact of guidance and information which Neza received from the Negro El Estevanelo. While it is true, therefore, that Estanavelo disobeyed Nava's order to stop and send messages, it is likewise a fact supported by all authorities that Estevanelo saw the territory of Mexico some days before the arrival of the Fiera. According to the information, Fiera Marcos followed days in the rear of his ambitious guide. In other words, the Moor was the guide. He went there first, okay? And then they didn't want to give him credit for the discovery, so Frere Marcos took the credit for the discovery. Later historians, in writing of this discovery, have not only ignored right which Estaveleno or Estavenico, either way the name is pronounced, had the discovery, but have charged him with an undue ambition and avarice. Okay, so in other words, they didn't just rob him of the discovery, but they also charged him of his undue ambition. Okay, that's what you get for your selling our people out. In writing, Frere Marcos Cortes called the monk a common impostor and declared that he claimed to discover countries that he never saw. While it may not be proper to accept this wholesome charge, it is safe to say that Frere Marcos was too far in the rear of his Negro guide to lay claim to this discovery of New Mexico. Fiske, in Discovery of America, writes rather slightingly, in our opinion, of this interesting episode of the American history, laying particular stress on the ilo or echo in Estevanilo or Estavanico's name. Although it would perhaps be improper to charge so distinguished a historian with flippancy in his reference to poor silly little Steve, it would not perhaps be pretentious to suggest that the termination alluded to Estevan's name does not warrant such reflection on the man. Indeed, it seems clear that a fair interpretation of the facts related to Dr. Fiske's work, page 500 to 508, would warrant the conclusion that a man Estevanilo, who visited and sent back reports of a country, is more entitled to the honor of its actual discovery than who, according to Dr. Fiske's own statements from a hill, only got a Pisgah's sight of the glories of the country and then returned with all possible haste, without having set foot actually within the Cibolan settlement of New Mexico. So basically, there were people that that was saying that Moor deserves the credit, okay, for the discovery, opposed to somebody who never set foot on the land, but the Moor was sent to survey, to spy and discover. So he was the one who discovered it. Again, to show that Moors are not aborigines to the Americas. I rest my case on that. Dr. Henry Haynes treats Estevanico with greater justice. He says the Negro, okay, the Negro, that's right, was ordered to advance in a northerly direction 50 or 60 leagues and to send back to Frere Marcos a report of what he should discover. This Negro did. He sent back information that he had discovered a country, the finest in the world. You hear that? The finest in the world. Yes, the American continent. It was Cibola, one of the long sought for, was the, you see what I'm saying? World. In the world. That's why they're over here today. Shit. Now, instead of giving credit to his guide who had been killed in process, Fray Marcos claimed all the honor for himself and subsequent if they have not sustained the Führer honor where it belongs. So you see, these Negroes never learned their lesson. Hey, they are still in colonizers, looking to siding with the master, working with the master to capture and steal the genocide of our people. They cannot colonize. They want to be in bed with them. History have shown, again, they have betrayed y'all. Y'all, okay, thinking and then gold and you didn't get it. In other, they persecute, never give you credit. But listen, to this day, you're still trying to do this ancestors did. Because your ancestors tell you that we have no connected narrative. Negro discovered of his connection expedition of 1526, his association with Niza in 1539, found in his bearings on this period. But aside from, he is known of his early history. Esteban was born in Azamor, one of the principal cities of and may be supposed to have been about 30 years of age when he joined the expedition of Narvaez, when he sailed de Barrameda, June 15 of 15. Once again, why do you think they want you to think that this is Morocco? Because they want you to be a subject of Morocco. If all you yourself put in paperwork that you're Moors, then you become a sub, then they win. This thing has been put in plan. They had a one to take over this empire, the American empire. There's, but y'all gonna learn today. With the first fleet were 506 persons. After the landing on the coast of Florida, they wandered through the country by the Indians. You hear that? Let me ask you a question. Why wasn't the Negroes, why were the Negroes being harassed by the Indians? And I've showed you endless information to show that the Indians is us. So why we were harassing these Negroes? Why? Until all but 240 of their number. Then November 22nd, they set sail in a number of boats to the, you know why? Because we was whooping their ass in Florida. It was 6 of them. And by September, it was only about 240 of them. So guess what? They fled to Mexico. So they are here, insurgents, spies. Okay? Morenos, conquistadors, wanting to take over our empire. Navarro proved a poor leader. Misfortunate befell him, and only 4 survived. And an Estevanico These four men discovered and landed in Texas. Okay, so they're all over the place, and you hear that? And what? One more. They have always been working with their white brothers or always. Why do you think they tell you the SF-181 white power? You know what I'm saying? I'm connecting the dots for y'all. These four men discovered and landed upon the coast of Texas. These four men, 3 whites and 1 more, a Negro. We were not called Negroes, and that was in 1527. Up to then, we were not called Negroes. We were still being called Indians. Not that we are Indians. We are Aborigines who were called Indians. Okay? These 4 men discovered and landed upon Texas. They strove to keep together, white man and 1 Negro, so that they might render mutual aid. This to be impossible. For 8 years, they wandered among the savages. Yes, the Indians, they call it savages. And it is evident they manifested fully as much tact and ability as the self-maintenance and for that, like brothers. Yes, the Moors, the Negro. That's not us. That's not us. Each of these unfortunate labored as slaves and all finally became medicine men of distinction among the native culture. But it's not theirs. We taught them how to be medicine men, but it's not theirs. It's the American Aborigine. They are reported to have become so expert in healing. The savages came from great distances to be cured and crowd them from place to place. The black as successful as his white brothers. You hear that? Man, listen. I mean, how much more do you, how much proof do you guys want? We never called like that. No. You know who we grow? That's right. The Moors. He became familiar with the Indian characteristics and experiencing 8 years of wandering proved to him. Yes, they learn our dialects, they learn our characteristics. This black explorer, yes, they were the ones called black, not us. They are all the same. At the conclusion of this journey, Esteban's 3 left for Spain, but Esteban remained in Mexico, in esteem by those who were interested in extending the Spanish dominion. So in other words, he was still helping the Spaniards. Mexico. Accordingly, it was not long before he was selected as the guide for an expedition into the northern country, which gave him the opportunity of his life. He evidently had to become an explorer and a discoverer, as is shown by the fact disobedience to in order that he first to find Cibola of the search for El Dorado. El Dorado. El Dorado, does the L sound familiar? Is most interesting, but it is sufficient here to say that though he lost his life, the Negro succeeded in the discovering the famous 7 cities of the Zuni Indians of New Mexico. Yep, that's right. He died, but he succeeded in discovering the famous 7 cities. Do some research on the 7 cities of the Zuni Indians. We didn't call ourselves Zuni Moors or Zuni Negroes or Zuni blacks. No, we were called the Zuni Indians. All right? The importance of the discovery of Esteban to his time and his influence on the early progress of Spanish America. May he be judged from the fact that The various expeditions had been planned for this discovery, but had failed. Cortes had vainly spent nearly 12 years in trying to push an expedition into the northern country, and following Esteban's discovery, there was a wild desire on the part of the explorers to find the now famous 7 cities of Cibola. Coronado longed to be the discoverer, and he did visit the country the year following the discovery made by Esteban, and which resulted in latter's death. Bandelea, who gives all the credit of the discovery to Neza, asserts that this journey, which he acknowledges to have been led by Esteban, was one of the greatest value of Christendom, and to Spain in particular. The value of the discovery was such that we can only rightfully accord to Esteban the more an important place among the early explorers of the Americas. Man, y'all in Aborigines, man, shut the hell up. It is not inappropriate to add testimony from Sir Clements R. Markham, the noted historian, who writes, owing to information brought to Mexico by Cabeza de Veca in 1528-1536, the viceroy Don Antonio Mendoza determined to send an expedition to search for the powerful towns reported to exist in north of Mexico. A fiera named Marcos de Neza was sent in search of these towns. A Negro named Esteban, who had previously served in the expedition of Cabeza de Vaca, accompanied Neza, and they set off to Culiacan on the Gulf of California in March of 1539. Neza and his Negro accompanied him with a good reception everywhere. Okay? He's Negro. That's right, he's Negro, he's slave. They crossed deserts and came into Indians. They didn't come into Negroes. They didn't come into other Moors. They didn't come into blacks or Africans. No, they came into Aborigines. Okay? Who heard of the Spaniards. Here they received tidings that in an extensive plain, some days' journey to the north, there were several large towns. Neza sent his faithful Negro. You hear that? His faithful Negro companion alone. He sent him alone because he could trust him. He sent his Moor and waited for his return with news. Esteban sent back word to Neza that he had found the way to the great city called Cibola. That's right. Neza then followed, but after a few days, he received news from an Indian that Esteban had reached Cibola, but had been killed by the natives. Yes, that's right. We killed that bastard trying to sell us out. Neza fled back to Mexico. This concludes the English historian is one instance of a Negro having taken an important part in the exploration of the continent. Esteban was the discoverer of Cibola, the territory of New Mexico. It may be asked, why is that this Negro name has remained practically in obscurity for more than 3.5 centuries? The answer is not difficult. Until recently, historians were not careful to note with any degree of accuracy and with due credit the useful and noble deeds of the Negro companions of the Spanish conquerors, because Negroes were slaves, the property of the master, who was supposed to be entitled to the credit for whatever the latter accomplished. That's right. They were slaves coming from Spain because they lost their reign. So you know what? They made deals, treaties, covenants. But the Spaniards, the Jews, which are the Jews? Don't get it twisted. When I say Spaniards, that's why I have to read the first one. Okay, the Morenos, they were Jews. Okay, Jews were their masters. Okay, so the Jews, they didn't honor their word and they made them slaves. The object of this paper is to direct attention to this apparent injustice, and if someone more competent will undertake a thorough investigation of the subject, the purpose of the writer will have been accomplished. And that was written for how long now? And no one has refuted or rebutted. The man said, in conclusion, the object of this paper is to direct attention to this apparent injustice that was done to the Moor, And if someone more competent, in other words, he put a challenge out there. Okay? He put a challenge out there. If anyone who's more competent will find and undertake a thorough investigation of the subject, the purpose of the writer will have been accomplished. Have it been accomplished? You're damn right it have, because nobody else have opposed it. I conclude. Let me get back to you guys here. All right? So once again, brothers and sisters, I am done with the reading for today. Okay? I'm just playing my part, giving you the facts, giving you the truth. It's up to you. It's up to you, man. You do the rest. Okay? You do the rest. Brothers and sisters, I'm playing my part. All I ask is a little support, because we got work to do. I know what to do. Okay? I know what needs to be done. Let us stop. Okay? Our people out. Let us stop selling our people out. I am asking you. I am begging you. Stop. Okay? Now, there are true American Aborigines who truly think they're Moors. But tell them the truth. Okay? Let them withdraw. Let them purge that out of this system. We are not Negroes. We are not African Americans. And I showed you how they was able to blend in among, not be caught, because they were slaves. When they lost their rule from them slaves, and they were converted into Christianity, missionaries into Christians. Okay? Don't get tricked into that paperwork. Oh, you will be a subject. And they have a treaty with the United States to be treated as citizens of the United States. So you're looking for freedom, you're going to pull yourself around slavery. I'm telling you, you're not going to find that truth anywhere else. And the way it's broken down, you're not going to find it. Okay? So with that being said, I'm about, all right, like I said, support the channel. The link for, if you don't want to, feel like, you don't want to get the book right channel, give a gift, give a donation, support. Because again, I was up 400 and something pages just to pull that information out for you. Well, actually 500 and change. Non-stop. I was up all night reading. Not just one book. I read from 3 books, and I only pulled that out of my arsenal a few days ago. So it goes to show you the work that I'm putting in. You want to know why I don't have a 9-to-5? Because this is my 9-to-5. Because you don't have the luxury to do it. So I'm asking for your support. All right? So I'm about to conclude. I appreciate you guys once more. Hey, what else can I say, man? What else can I say? Let me see if I could go here and put that in here. Go back to the home page. Go back to the home page. Man, this is a lot of work. I know it's a lot to digest, and this who call themselves Moors, I'm not mad at you, because a lot of you guys don't know. You truly believe. Okay? But I'm here to show, just like how Christians believe, it's true. But I'm showing you the proof, man. You have been lied to. You have been tricked. It's a movement. Okay? And we got to be careful. We got to be careful, because what you are helping the colonizers do, this Morenos do, these Jews do, is conquer our land. Okay? You're doing the same thing your ancestors did. And you have a chance to, you have a chance to redeem yourself. Do the same thing that was done in Haiti. When the Moors, aka Negroes, joined with my ancestors, the Aborigines, the so-called Indians in Haiti, and revolted and became the first country to be independent. You have a chance to truly join the Aborigines and stop selling us out, man. Stop. Stop, please. I'm asking you. Okay? So I put the link below, you know what I'm saying? Again, you know, hey man, go support. All right? Go support. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, man. Shout out to each and every one of you for tuning in. You know, hey, Jazzy, thank you, man, for always tuning in. Ghost, you know, thank you for the support. Just to give a few people shout out, you know, Sa Eden, you know, Stacy, you know, brother Taloff, Bill, you know what I'm saying, brother Bill, and Yolanda Williams, Messiah, Goodbody, you know, Sekmet, you know, thank you. Just giving a few people some shout outs. Who else we got? If I miss anybody, forgive me. A Science. Who else we got? Who else we got? My sister Yvonne White, you know what I'm saying? You know, Tony Golden. You know, I appreciate you guys, man. You know, good looking. Mind Games. Thank you for tuning in. Who else we have? Who else we have? Who else we have? Let me go back to the beginning. I don't want to miss anybody. I just want to give a few shout outs, man. Just want to let you guys know I appreciate you. Authentic One, and thank you for that text. I will check that out as well. Definitely check that out because, like I said, I'm making Lovely One. Do me a favor, guys. Go to Lovely One's channel and subscribe. You know, she's an artist and she's doing conscious music. You know what I'm saying? Or music, you know, talking about Aborigines. So go support Patrick Epps. You know, my brother, man. Thank you. Who else? Who else we have? Trying to go through everybody and give everybody a little love and shout out, let you know I see you, I acknowledge you. Okay, I'm Tyrone. You know, I appreciate you too, brother. All right, so I think that's it, man. You know, I've definitely given everybody a shout out, and I just want to say thank you in advance for sharing your time and energy with me. Another over 3 hours of hey, man, you know, powerful information. And once again, for my brothers and sisters who call themselves Moors, you know, I'm not mad at you because a lot of y'all truly believe that's who you are. But I'm here to tell you today, yes, you may be an Aborigine, but you are not a Moor. Okay, you are not a Moor. All right. Now, if that's what you want to be, fine. But just to know that once you do that, you become a subject of Morocco, and you are to be treated as a citizen of the United States. Okay. So we don't need any more of your day, and I will let all peace, love, and light. Thank you. Tico, that's my brother out there. You know, I appreciate you. All right, talk to you guys soon. One.